Hey, everyone. How's it going, everybody? So, yes, thank you. Well, first off, thank you all so much for being here. If you are new here, I am JL, and welcome to Bridge the Divide. So, my channel where I address weird Christian stuff and debunk woo and do all kinds of fun things. I am aware that there is some insanity going on currently between, I guess, over on the plot hole at the moment. I know the plot hole is going live right now. He's got a thing with Modern Warrior and Craft Tequila. He actually asked me to be on that show. He asked me to be to be on that panel when we were talking on Tuesday. But I had no idea that they were doing it on a Friday. I did not realize that it was going to be this Friday. And he actually put out a message yesterday that there wouldn't be a video. He says he put out a message saying, "Everyone, no video tomorrow. Life is getting in the way, but I have the weekend off to get something for all you awesome folks." It was a general announcement that went out on his Discord. So I was like, oh, because he's got some things that have been going on. There's an issue with Link. I know Link, his beloved dog, hurt himself, and I know that there was stuff going on with Jocelyn, and I thought that he was dealing with that, and that was going to be the thing, but apparently not. So, and they're live over there right now. So I understand. I saw some message over there saying that people felt like they were torn between two parents. So I understand if you want to hang out over there, if you want to do that, if you want to hang out here, I do appreciate it. So, but welcome everyone who is here. There's a bunch of stuff because I figured that since I thought that Johnny wasn't going live tonight on Friday night, so I figured I would fill the slot. And I would go live. So I set a bunch of stuff up, like a lot of stuff. So there's AMA is essentially just kind of fill the gap. But there's videos that we're going to review. I've got somebody waiting in the green room who we're going to talk with, and then potentially a guest later on who right now is currently doing a thing with R and Raw. So if we get an opportunity, if he gets done and I'm still on, I'm going to bring him in. We're going to talk to him too. So I set up a whole bunch of stuff thinking, to make a really good show for Friday night, thinking that it was just, I was going to me and Johnny was taking personal time. But apparently I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. So I got the wrong message, or I don't know. So I don't know what's going on over there, but keep me abreast of the conversation because I kind of wanted to be on that panel. I kind of wanted to hear what they had to say. And, I know, I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm very, very curious. Anyhow. So, yes, a bunch of stuff to get to tonight. And, and I myself, I don't have a curfew like Johnny does. So I'm not out of here. Like, I don't have to be out of here at 11. Oh, I got to work. But so I can spend all the time I want. And first and foremost to get to is we have somebody I want to talk to. Somebody I've wanted to get on the channel for some time. And the stars kind of aligned and now they are available. So everybody, first and foremost, well, let's just go ahead and bring him in because everybody knows him. And then we're going to say hi to everybody in the chat, and then we're going to get to talking. So we're going to let him in. So welcome, everybody in the live chat, to Steaming Cup of Reason.
Well, hello. How are you, my friend?
I am doing very good, sir. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
I'm stoked to be here, man. I've been wanting to do this for a while.
Definitely. And things because I divide my time between Bridge the Divide and Weekend Horror, my horror film podcast. I'm just sapped for opportunities, and they have to schedule things so far out in advance in order to make sure I get on top of them. And then, of course, the new puppy in the house who is driving everyone insane. So
that must be a handful.
He's a blackmouth cur, so which is kind of like its own kind of like mutt breed in that respect, but he's only 9 months old, and so. He has his zoomy time and his, crash time, and he just kind of goes between all that. But we're getting him trained and working with him. But oh man, it's been a long time since a puppy's been in the house, and
that's cool.
It's like having a kid when you're like in your 50s, and you're just like,
yeah, that's cool, man.
All right, let's take a quick and take a moment and say hello to everybody who has made it to the live chat, who's decided to hang out here, or maybe they're swapping in between us and Johnny O. I had no idea Johnny O was going live, but here we go. Let's see. First and foremost, hey, Angie. Good to see you, Angie. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Atheist Mando's in the house, who's got nothing but hot takes. Good to see Atheist Mando. Thank you so much for being here. Christopher Music Channel's in the house. Is Johnny O and JL stream at exactly the same time to confuse us? Well, I'm as confused as you are, sir. I truly am. I really am. Hey, streaming cover reason. I see you. Haha, I see you there.
Yeah. I'm here.
It's like, hey, there you are. It's like, hi, do I know you? No, but there you are. You're right there.
And there you go.
Gosh of Heckfire, good to see you. Says stoked. This would be great to listen to in the shop. Fantastic, Gosh of Heckfire. I hope I can give you a good show. I know I normally don't do Friday nights, but I figured, the Johnny O situation. But I guess we'll find out what happens. Thank you so much for being here, Gosh of Heckfire. Mr. Malord is in the house, a member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much, Mr. Malord, for the support. Hello to you. And I see UKPI is in the house, another member of the Godless Army. Says, hey, peoples, I'm early for a change. Yes, you are, and I do appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Thank you, UKPI, for the support. Donnie Does That's in the house. Good to see you, Donnie Does That. Thor Rasmussen, another member of the Godless Armies in the house, says, good morning, everybody. Tea is made, so let's get started. Damn right. Sounds good to me. Oh, yes, and I've got my juice as well. So I'm set.
Same
Gosh, Gosh of Heckfire's in the house, one of my favorite names on the internet. Says, good evening, all you right-thinking mofos. Good to see you, Gosh of Heckfire. And I see Jack Burton is in the house. Let's get those legs in the stirrups and let's get this abortion started already. And then he says, too much? Maybe a little, Jack. Maybe a little. This is coming from the DS. Thank you so much for being here, Jack. I do appreciate it. Dervis is in the house. Says, hello. Good to see you, Dervis. H. Jasper E's in the house. Good to see you. Another member of the Godless Army. Same with Thor Rasmussen, another member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much for being here. And I do, yes, I love that intro music. That intro music is called as Barefoot Adventures. And it's available on Epidemic Sound. And as long as you're an Epidemic member, you can use their stuff. You don't even have to credit them. All you have to do is have an active membership, and you can use their stuff, all of their stuff, to their heart's content. That's where I get all of my little Foleys and all of the music that I use, the stuff for the intermission. All of it's available Epidemic Sound. It's amazing. It's literally like $40 a year, and if you can afford that, jump on it if you're a content creator, because I don't think there's anything better as a resource. Not to mention, if you have anything you use while you had an active membership, you are free to use forever. So if you like sign up for their trial and you only do the trial time, anything you use within that trial time, you're good to go. All your old videos, you're clear to use them because you had an active membership at that time. After your membership expires, you don't lose the monetization on those. They will not file copyright claims on that stuff. Only the stuff you make only stuff you do when you don't have a subscription. So really fantastic stuff.
I just signed up for their backstage program.
Oh, awesome! Very cool.
Yeah.
I love over there. Johnny gave me a free trial. He sent me a link for it, and I was like, let me try this. And I think it was like 7 days free. So I jump on there. I was like, this is, and I was like that library. I was like, this is amazing.
I know.
Take my money.
Yeah, I know. I've been on it for about a year now. So
fantastic. NA's in the house. Good to see you. Another member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much for the support, NA. One of my longest running supporters. I do appreciate it, NA. There we go. And I see Jefferson Spatchcock's in the house. He popped by. Hello, Jefferson Spatchcock. And most likely I will be reviewing a video that he will probably be reviewing in the future. So we're going to take a look at that one. It's a new one with Jay Robin, and we also have another Matt Powell thing to look at. So this should be fun. Geez. So S.C.O.R, if you want to hang around while we look at those to provide commentary, you're more than welcome to stay. So just a heads up on what we're going to be talking. Those other files you saw down in the graveyard. Sketch Crasher's in the house. Good to see you, Sketch Crasher. Hello to you. Charlie Welch, the only man on the internet you never make a bet with. Good to see you, Charlie Welch, another member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much. Regios, another member of the Godless Army, says, can we hang out in both? You certainly can. You can hang out at Johnny O's. You can hang out at mine. It's all good. We're not like getting divorced. You can go between both. I'm not going to ply you with gifts or awesome emojis that I spent time making that only I've made and really, really put effort into. So
they're cool. I love them.
I have another one, and I can't wait to unlock it. I think my channel is 4 channel members away from unlocking the Greg Locke emoji. And I made a Greg Locke emoji in response to his book burning, to like the book burning and like, his witches thing. So I made one, and it may get me in trouble. I won't lie. I made an emoji of Greg Locke, and it may get me in some trouble. I'm not sure, but I cannot wait to unlock it.
The big question is, do you really give a damn?
No, I don't give a shit. I really don't. I haven't heard of anyone on YouTube getting in trouble for an emoji they made. So no one
Not
has
gonna
said
lie.
they took my emojis away. I haven't heard that, but you never know because this one's kind of bad. So
Well,
if
I
I could
guess
be
we'll
a
have
first,
to wait and see.
right? If I could be a first, that'd be awesome. Be like first person to have an emoji removed, or I got in trouble. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. Nathan Brooks, greetings. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you. Nin Clow as well says, "Hey Chief, long time no see or talk. How have you been? I'm doing good." Oh, Nin Clow, yes, man, it has been a minute. It has been a long time, Ninclaw. I hope you're doing well. I know things have cooled off over at PNR ever since, Darth made it back to Discord. So, but I'm so glad to hear from you, bud. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. Yep. Steaming cup. Did I say streaming cup of reason? I don't think I said streaming. Steaming cup of reason. I don't think I said. I'll make sure.
I get
Thank
that
you
all the time.
Thank you, Charlie Welch. I'll make sure that I get it right. Yes, jobs are always a bummer. Let's see. HJS Brady says, "Hey, Steaming Cup of Reason. Great video today, as well as JL's, Mr. 42s, and Tiny Captains. They were so good.
Thank
I postponed my commentary until tomorrow for when I'm less tired." Thank you, bud.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun making my latest one that dropped earlier today. It was I really got to show my nerd side and how deep my nerd roots go. And I got to just revel in it because I know everybody knows I'm a nerd. Heck, I collect dragons, I got horror movie posters, and I run a film podcast. But I got to do like real nerd stuff, so it was fun.
Yeah, that Matt Powell, he makes my skin crawl.
Oh, he's trash.
If it wasn't for YouTube, that guy would be on TV selling friggin' polyester prayer handkerchiefs for Hovind.
Or pillows.
Or there you go.
or it'd be selling pillows and shilling for Trump. All right. Okay. Elizabeth Sylvester, good to see you. Thank you so much, hon. She also got a new puppy. Congratulations. 10-week-old lab husky golden doodle Bouvier. Interesting. That's an interesting mix. That is a very interesting dog. Torque, we named our new one Torque. He is 10 months old. 10 months old.
Why do you call him Torque?
Because
is he that wound up?
Yeah, but when he tug of wars, when he plays tug of war, and it was weird. When he plays tug of war, he torques himself around because he's so small, but he'll torque himself in order to twist it away from somebody.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and he loves doing it. So I was like, "That's your name." Not to mention the high energy. The high energy.
That's your name.
I'm kind of hearing myself. Am I getting feedback?
It's possible. It's possible. I got this really bad buzz in my ear, so I can't really wear headphones. But I can drop on my headphones if I have to.
It may have been the speaker feedback. Oh, I don't hear it now. I don't hear it now. We're good.
Okay. Well, I just pulled back the levels on my mic a bit, so I think that kind of gives the gate the chance to knock it out.
Cool. I see God equals the square root of -1 is in the house. Good to see you so much. Thank you so much for being here, bud. And yes, there's some Dr. Peel. There's some Dr. Peel emojis. Whole bunch of emojis I've specially created for y'all. And I see NA with a $2 super chat. $2 freedom dollars says my tea is an IPA. Absolutely. Adam, another member of the Godless Armies in the house, says, "I'm listening, but I'm half asleep." Well, yeah, I hope you rest well. If you do fall asleep, it won't. But we have some cool stuff coming up, so I hope you will enjoy it. And yep, there's the mech koala based off my little guy right here, who was sent to me from Irish Demon when he was down in Australia. It's like Charlie Welch says, "This is not a Team Skeptic FTFA situation." No, it is not a Team Skeptic FTFE situation. I thought he wasn't going live, so I decided to go live to fill the gap, and he went live anyway. So what do you do? What's an atheist to do? These things happen. It's completely random.
It's a coinkydink.
It is a coincidence. Let me see who else we got. I think I am all caught up. I think we've said hi to everybody. And Atheist Mando is a new member of the Godless Army.
Ooh, welcome to the army.
Thank you so much, Atheist Mando. I do appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Yeah, feel free to enjoy your new channel badge, which is the expanding mind meme. The longer you're with the channel, the more that will expand. And, of course, all of the emojis that I create for you. That puts us 3 away from the epic Greg Locke emoji reveal, which, if we hit it, I will drop that emoji immediately. I will literally, I'll jump over to the studio, I'll pop the emoji in, and everybody will have access to it right then and there. So it is amazing. Thank you so much, Atheist Mando. I do appreciate the support. Okay, so S.C.O.R. You have been hard. You have been hard at work for close to 2 years, right?
Actually, I'm into my third year now.
Third year on your series, The Pain of Progress.
Well, for The Pain of Progress, 1 year, but
1 year. Okay.
Reason as my presence on YouTube, 3 years.
Steaming Up a Reason for 3 years, and you've been working. Yeah, you've been working on your series, The Pain of Progress, for a little over a year. Because I remember, I got back when Crafty and I were talking. There was a lot of stuff going on with the Four Beardsmen. Is when we first heard about that, or when I first heard about that. So so first and foremost, for all the people who are not familiar with your content, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then of course I would like to dive into exactly what The Pain of Progress focuses on and what your goal is with getting that information out.
All right, cool, awesome. Well, as you all know, I am Steaming Cup of Reason. That's my logo up there. That was actually the original channel that I started on YouTube with, and I started out doing just point and laugh and debunking of flat Earth, because I couldn't believe that there was that level of stupid on the internet, and I had to speak out. And I was not very, I didn't hold back, let's just say. But, that kind of got tiresome a little bit. And I decided I wanted to do something a little bit more educational, something more in line with my passions. And that's when I started up, there we go, The Pain of Progress.
Nice.
So I run both channels. They both belong to me. But I also do a live stream every Saturday night, my time, which is Saturday morning, I think, or Friday night.
I'm curious. Am I hearing a table saw in the background?
Yeah, my neighbors across the street are doing construction, and I can't shut it up. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought I recognized the sound. It sounded like a table saw or a circular saw.
Yeah, it is in fact a table saw, and you might even hear a cement mixer.
Construction.
I can't do nothing about it. I'm sorry.
It's The Pain of Progress.
That's right. It is the pain of progress. It is, certainly. Although I'm the one suffering the pain while they make the progress. But yeah, so Saturday evenings for me, or Saturday mornings for the West, I do a live stream called The Real Reason, which is just an open chat, and everybody's welcome to say what they want. It's a place where I like to give my viewers and my visitors a voice. I don't censor anybody unless you're being openly homophobic or just plain nasty. Right. You're gone. Other than that, say what you want, and I'll even support it. So
fantastic.
So that's basically what I'm about.
A couple of new people jumped in. I see them. S. Aston jumped in, said, "Greetings, y'all. Greetings to you, S. Aston. Thank you so much for being here." Mark Short as well, who says, who was talking to Adam. Adam said, "I hit 30 years old and my body suddenly decided to be tired at night." And then Mark Short said, "Adam, wait until you hit 40, and then you can be tired through the day as well." Very true. Very true. I'm just past it, so I'm actually about to hit the 42 mark. I'm about to hit the answer for everything. If I get the answer for everything, the answer to life, the universe, and everything, then I will let you know, but I doubt it. And DeLong here says you can't stop progress. This is true. Nope. And this kind of goes into it. So The Pain of Progress. Overall, just kind of an overview of it. What have you covered, and what's the goal of that overall?
Okay. The Pain of Progress is meant to be a history-based channel, which aims to give basic information and educate people on the small little bits of history that we normally don't even realize exist. Things that we take for granted in our modern day lives that have ties to that history and the price that was paid for those conveniences we enjoy today. That's part of most history programs that is often very rarely talked about. And the reason why I did The Pain of Progress the way I did it is I wanted to keep it simple. You might not agree with me, but I think out there, especially on YouTube, there is a lot of history snobbery. Okay,
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
where the people who are presenting the history or the people who are consuming this history content have expectations of the presenter having qualifications like stacked this high right up the back end till it makes you go cross-eyed because otherwise you're not credible and nobody wants to listen to you. I don't believe that. I think history can be well understood and taught in a much more simple and less more formal style. The details don't have to be absolutely precise and correct. Just getting the general idea across, giving people an opening or a doorway into that topic, and then hopefully encouraging them to take it further on their own if they want to pursue those really detailed, deep discussions, or maybe get a degree in that topic. Whatever, it's up to them. I just want to present it as something that you might not have known about before, and now you do, and you start digging. And the way I approached it, the first 2 seasons were actually a collaboration. It was my show, my channel, and everything, but I brought in a second creator to help me develop and build out the show. And that was Thor, Logic of the Gods. Fantastic creator, one of the best narrators I've ever heard. And we did back to back. I'll do a show 1 week and he did the next episode, and so on. And the first 2 seasons, I was back and forth between myself and Thor, and we looked at technologies that were developed in times of war, World War II particularly, for the sole purpose of defeating and killing our enemy, but have since evolved into the technologies that we could not live without today. And we never even think about the price in lives and that was paid in the development of those technologies. For example, one of my most popular episodes was on duct tape. And people say, duct tape? What the heck does duct tape have to do with history? Well, go check out the episode and you'll find out. Okay? It was a very simple thing that turned out to become the most ubiquitous product on the planet. Who does not have a roll of duct tape somewhere in their home?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
I like duct tape. Duct tape makes you smart. So
yeah,
I like duct tape. Yes.
And it's basically just a woman who was working in a factory, and her sons were in the Navy, and her sons were sending letters home from war, complaining about how difficult it was to get that wax seal off the ammunition box so they can get their ammo and load up. And she came up with the idea of this fabric tape that you could easily peel. It's weatherproof, weather resistant, durable, and it just whips off quickly, in reducing the time it takes for her son to get his ammunition out of his ammo box, possibly saving his life. And she wrote a letter to that effect to Eisenhower, I think it was. No, not Eisenhower. Who was it at the time? I can't even remember. She wrote a letter to the president. And the president immediately put it into war appropriations to have it manufactured. And today we have duct tape. And it's evolved into other products. It's evolved into other products like speed tape, which is what a lot of pilots in the Vietnam War used in their helicopter rotor blades to correct a blade imbalance, which would shake the helicopter apart.
Gaffer tape as well, because we working in the film industry, gaffer tape is a major thing that we use because it can drop down, it's durable, and people can walk on it and it can mark positions, but it can easily come up. So because often you're not shooting in your own, when you're shooting a project, you're not in your own space. So you can't just be, and duct tape, while durable, can have that kind of residue effect. Whereas, so someone would have to say, well, what about duct tape with the same durability, but it doesn't leave the residue that it does? And gaffer tape was involved in gaffer tape. You lay down, it could be down all day long, comes right up, and you're good to go. So,
there you go. But these things were developed because of a wartime need to save lives.
Right.
Now, when you pick up a roll of duct tape, do you ever wonder about how many soldiers' lives that saved in World War II? Does it even enter your mind? Probably
I would
not.
think that the only thing that I would use in my house regularly where that comes to mind is Teflon.
There you go.
Because Teflon was one of those things. It was gonna and as bad as Teflon can be for the environment like this, understanding where it came from. Because my father was a diesel mechanic, and he knew all about it. It was like Teflon is the most amazing thing in the history of everything. And so he was just like, sure. It was one of those things he found so fascinating he had to dive into. And my father wasn't exactly, he was a good man, but he wasn't exactly a repository of knowledge. But there were a few things he knew a lot about. One of them being diesel engines, the other thing being, what Teflon is used for. So he found that to be super cool. And he also worked, he briefly worked for the company Roar which is in, if I remember correctly, my grandfather worked for Roar before he passed away, and there's ROHR, and it's out in California. And I think my father briefly worked there as well, for just temporarily before we moved to Texas.
Yeah, so. And Roar was also a company that was involved in World War II in the development of acrylic plastic, which they needed for aircraft canopies and aircraft glass, because what they were using before was extremely flammable. And that led to the development of implants for the eye, the lens implants, because pilots were getting their eyes shot out or from splintered glass. So they developed a corneal implant in World War II to save pilots from losing their eyesight. And now we have a common procedure that was developed to save a life in the war. Who thinks of acrylic plastic that way? No, it's just a piece of plastic. It's almost worthless to people. It's just something you can shape into a cool thing and put it on your desk, But it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. But nobody thinks about where it began and why it began. The computer. How could we imagine our world today without computers? Why do we have them? Because the Army and the Navy needed them to quickly calculate firing solutions for their artillery, so they can kill the enemy quicker and more efficiently. Do you ever think about that? Computer wasn't designed to play games and do your accounting for you. It was built and designed for the purpose of making it easier and faster to kill somebody.
Imagine telling those individuals who invented it way back then, with that purpose in mind, that we need a way in order to do calculations faster and more efficiently, so we can do these things in wartime. Imagine telling them that one day their invention will allow me to waste a third of my life playing World of Warcraft.
There you go. But those are the interesting little things that we never think about, that I picked up on one day, and I decided, this is history that's never taught. So I thought I'd do the Pain of Progress and do episodes on all kinds of different technologies, keep it educational but entertaining at the same time, without boring you with a 3-hour lecture. You don't have to be a Cambridge professor to speak about history. You just have to have a passion for it and do your research. And that's what I do.
Oh yeah, it's interesting, and of course, the unspoken history of the things that we take for granted these days, the things that we in everyday life that we take for granted, and I find it to be incredibly interesting. And obviously, everybody can have a takeaway from that and lead them to other things, because it's definitely operates as a springboard to bigger subjects. If anybody was ever interested in manufacturing, fabrication, or engineering, obviously, hearing about these things and how they came about is, I think, would be a great place to start. Yeah. It also interests me because I approach philosophy from the same perspective. Because a lot of people out there that I debate with think that, because I debate a lot of theists, and typically nowadays, I would say starting back. These big questions have always kind of, ever since the ancient Greeks, there's been big questions that have permeated society regarding God and its relationship with us and relationship with the universe. And I I myself don't have a PhD or anything of that in philosophy, but I've studied it extensively. And I've recognized that individuals that do have a PhD or something of that nature in philosophy really are just repositories of knowledge.
Yes.
So they're like an encyclopedia. They basically learned going up from pre Socratic all the way up to postmodernism, and they've memorized it all, and they can tell you about the whole journey from point A to point B and yada yada yada. But you don't need to be a repository. You just need to be able to have the resources, do the work, and understand it, and you can relay it to anybody else because these concepts are there and solidified in history. They're solidified in history, and they have helped us to answer questions about the universe coming up to today, to this point where now where I would say the best advantage is that as far as this goes is it has pushed the necessity for or pushed God into like the metaphysical landscape where where we know it's this reality that we exist in, it's not there, and so it's almost off the board completely, which I think when it eventually happens will do our human society a great service. So but I follow philosophy as well, and you don't need to be a PhD or whatever in order to get this stuff down. Dive into what you want. Not to mention, and it's weird how the two kind of I say go hand in hand, history and philosophy, because what I've found is that a lot of people will find the philosophical concepts that match what they want to believe in. And it's like, this really speaks to me on a personal level, and they will adopt that philosophy. They say, I am this because this makes the most sense to me. And I've seen that with history. History is often written by the victors, and history is interpreted to interpret it objectively is difficult because going back, not 100% sure how much is true, because you're not getting the losing side of it, because the losing side typically doesn't offer in. And then of course you've got the Bible, which is where the domain that I tread in, where it's the Jewish version of the events that went down instead of the actual events that went down, which is why if you want the whole story, you got to go to the Persians, you got to go to the Egyptians, you got to go to the Hittites, got to go to the Syrians, and so on and so forth to get all the data. So I like that, and I like that you present it in the objective way, in the mechanics and engineering, kind of like in the STEM section of it. These are the things we know. This is the process of which this was done, and it's not tainted by any kind of personal opinion or whatever of the government's there. It's like, nope, these are the things that we have every day. So it's an aspect of history I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's important for people to understand the basics of things. I mean, being a grade school teacher, I teach math and science all week, every day. The kids need it, but I'm amazed at how so many adults ignore it.
Definitely.
And that's how we end up with flat Earth communities.
Well, I think that's the big issue. It's like an out of sight, out of mind. They don't feel that it bears any serious weight in their lives, in their personal lives, and in their heads, someone else is doing it. Someone else is worrying it. Someone else will crunch the numbers. The person who wants to crunch the numbers will go and crunch the numbers. Therefore, I don't need to be concerned about it because they weren't taught that they need to know about these things. They need to be aware of these things, that these things are as important for them. Mathematics, all the different fields within it are as important to understand what's going on, but of the things that otherwise you end up just taking them for granted.
Yeah.
If you just use a computer just for playing games, you know nothing about computers, then what happens when the computer goes down? What happens when this happens? Like that. Just to understand these things is important. And that's when we run into, I think that's where flat Earth, anti-vax, this kind of crap, First Amendment auditing, all of this crap comes from, I have a cursory awareness of what this is, and I don't need to know any more because I'm not paid to know more. I don't get anything. I don't get any instant gratification out of getting out of knowing more. So therefore, I'm going to walk around this world with a misinterpretation of what I'm doing, of what these things are that I have, because it was never taught to them. And I think it's one of the greatest failings of education. And I think you feel the same way. One of the biggest failings of education in this country is that kids are not taught how to learn, and that learning is fun, and that to not know something is a strength, as opposed to a weakness. Because not knowing something gives you the opportunity to get more knowledge and more understanding instead of saying, oh, I failed because I don't know.
Yeah.
And
And
that,
not
I think,
enough teachers.
Right. That's just been.
I don't think there's enough teachers out there that are being taught how to instill the desire to learn in their students.
Most of them, I think, are just so overwhelmed. They're just overwhelmed. They just kind of fall back on the curriculum. It's just like, boom, whatever.
That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. Teachers are overworked. They are severely underpaid. And they've reached a point where they're just going through the motions. They're going.
And I would say undersupported as well, as far as resources, access.
Yeah,
they just not there.
And then you've got governments that further disrupt the situation by hamstringing them with stupid laws. Stupid laws and dumb restrictions and blah blah blah, and it just makes the teacher's life more and more hell. For example, I am here teaching in Vietnam, okay, and as a male teacher, being a grade school teacher with children is not a big problem at all. But if I were doing this job back west in the US or Canada as a male teacher, I would be almost crippled with fear to even enter a grade school, because the mere wrong look at someone could get me charged with child abuse or something like that.
Right.
The level of walking on eggshells that's required as a grade school teacher being a male, it's unbelievable. There's no reason for it, but yet that's the conditions that many male teachers in the US, I understand, have to deal with. The slightest thing can get
the days of Coach Carter and Stand and Deliver and Dangerous Minds. These don't exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore.
The teacher the unorthodox teacher who gets the message across in the language of their students, this doesn't happen. It's the curriculum and the curriculum alone, and then that's it. And then the bare minimum to try and get this across. Yeah. And of course it does the next generation a complete and total disservice. It's wild because you're currently in Vietnam and you're teaching. And one thing that struck me, because teachers here in America en masse going on strike, quitting for other careers, leaving it, we are strapped. We are strapped for educators because no money, no support, no access, no ability to do anything, walking on eggshells. Everyone's got a chip on their shoulder. Yeah. Parents are litigious. Money is uncertain. We have, the gap. The gap between the ultra wealthy and the lower class, the middle class is shrinking, so that all you have is an upper and lower class. So everyone is litigious. Everyone's looking for an opportunity to get something out of somebody in order to make sure that their bills are paid and they don't have to worry about something, because you could lose your job in a heartbeat. You could be canceled in a heartbeat. It's just getting insane.
Yeah.
But something that was my wife pointed out to me. Other countries don't seem to be having this issue. In fact, an interesting point, teachers in Mexico, not 1,500 miles from where I'm sitting, teachers in Mexico are one of the most venerated groups of individuals in that country. Mm-hmm. And they are taken care of. They are one of the best paid groups of individuals in that nation. It is hard to become a teacher in Mexico, because you've got to have the qualifications, and and you see it. They live in some of the best areas. They have some of the best income. They have the best access, and they are incredibly supplied by the state with what they need. Applying for something, saying I need this to teach this lesson. There is no I have to go hard in the paint to justify a lesson. It's like, what do you need? It's like, oh, I can do this, and here's my curriculum. Bam, you got it. Done. And you need anything else? It's like, nope, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to talk about
It's kind of similar here in Asia. Teachers are regarded with much more respect and appreciation than they are in the West. Not to the extent of Mexico, but it's not as... there are better support mechanisms in place Not everywhere, because Vietnam still it's coming up, but they can't really. Uh, they're still close to being third world, but they're
Mhm.
coming out of it, and they're coming out of it quickly. So they don't have as much of that financial government support as they should, but they do have it, you know. But teachers here are not treated the way they are in the West. They're not scapegoats,
Right.
or somebody you can just point a finger at and blame, or some Karen mom says, I don't know, I don't like how you talk to my child. You're an abuser. Go to jail. And that's what's happening in the U.S. We don't have that here.
That's wild. That's wild. And of
It
course,
is.
and unfortunately, sad to say, a lot of parents, especially in this especially the parents of this current generation, who think that a teacher is a substitute parent, and
Yeah.
that well, actually, they think they treat them like substitute parents, but when they parent, then they balk at the lessons being taught because they're not parents like they are. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you're not me. You'll teach. You can't have it both ways. And so
That's
teachers are
right.
caught in this crossfire of what is expected of them and what is actually what is actually what is expected of them and then what is demanded of them.
Yeah.
And then you put them in that emotional crossfire where they're stepping on eggshells. Then all of a sudden you continuously defund them in order for so that money can go to other things, because we're
Mhm.
constantly strapped in between healthcare and infrastructure and education. So the money keeps getting thinner and thinner and thinner. There's always reasons to take it out from somewhere else, and then but predominantly in the prison sector. And then of
Yeah.
course, because when you have uneducated individuals going into the world, those uneducated individuals have a propensity to become desperate when they run into
Mhm.
situations, especially when there is high job unemployment. They resort to
Yeah.
things in order to make ends meet. Bam, they wind up in jail. Private prison system grabs a hold of them, and then you just have that cycle that just generates money for the people
Yeah.
who are in control of that sector.
Yeah.
It's
It's sad.
fucking abominable.
It is. It is. But it's because of that situation that I decided to kind of take matters in my own hand, and use YouTube as a means of trying to educate people, hopefully
Right.
younger people, and maybe instill an interest and a desire to study further. And maybe some of them might say, hey, this is really interesting stuff. I think I'm going to go to university and get a degree in history,
Hell yeah.
or something like that. I mean, that's the hope and the dream, right? I mean, ultimately, I would like Pain of Progress to be seen as something digestible, educational, entertaining, and usable in the classroom by actual history teachers. That's what I would like to see happen. I'd like to see a teacher from a high school somewhere send me a message, say, I saw your Pain of Progress video on this topic. Can I use it in my lesson? I'd say, go for it, man. Do it. That's what I'm looking for. That's the hope and the dream of the Pain of Progress.
Fantastic. It's definitely something I could see. And if even that, I mean, I could see this as a series. To be honest, and I don't know, like, as far as like future aspirations, but stuff like this belong. I mean, my opinion belongs on things like the History Channel or the Learning
Hmm.
Channel, something of
Yeah.
that nature. And I think it would be an excellent resource because it brings up interesting things. The difficulty is that, especially a lot, we can agree. I think we can agree. Hey, mods, if you can handle that bot that just jumped in the chat, you see him, target and destroy. That a lot of advancement came out of World War II, and
Hmm.
today now, even now, World War II is a touchy subject and can be difficult to broach. People want to especially in high school, they want to
Yeah.
gloss over it. They don't want to address the real terrors of it. You don't really dive into
Yeah.
until you get into like college, and not even when your first year in college. You have to specifically go into you have to go into specific studies in order to really
Yeah.
dive in to what was going on, not only just what the Axis and the Allies were
Yeah.
doing, but also in the geopolitics of World War II.
Mhm.
And even then, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah,
So,
it
and
is.
that's another issue here in the West, is that education is increasingly in-depth education is becoming increasingly more and more unaccessible.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with the Pain of Progress, actually. Because you're right. Even now, the World War II for many people is something they don't really like to talk about. It's a bad thing. It's in the past. Forget it. Well, no, don't forget it, because so much of what you have today you have because of the events of World War II, and it's important to remember that and know how that came to be. That's what Pain of Progress is all about. Helping you build the history knowledge that led to what you enjoy today. And that's why those first two series were all about the technologies that came from that terrible period in our history. And then in the third season, we went further and started looking at the people and the events that shaped our societies into what we have today. And the human rights movements, the UN, NATO, all of that. We looked at those different things, the people and the events and the organizations that shaped our modern society. And then the season that's running now, the fourth season, we went back even further and looked at how civilizations evolved and developed and moved from one to another, leading us to today. And series 5 coming up in a few weeks, which is why I'm here, is going to be looking at the next step in that. I mean, we looked at the Roman Empire, the Greeks, the Mayans, the Egyptians in series 4. But in series 5, we're going to move on past that period into the Middle Ages, because so much went on in the Middle Ages, or also called the Dark Ages, that changed this world.
I can't remember. I can't remember that individual's name. There was an individual in the Middle East. I used to have his name just right at the top of my head. Who was instrumental in pretty much the spreading of the Dark Ages, because it was a particular individual, because the Middle East used to be the center of education, science, mathematics, everything. Those advancements were made there, and then all of a sudden, someone came along. I can't remember his last name, but I can't remember his name, but came in and shut it all down in favor of religious spread, because these things were, taking from God or whatever reasons that they had. And then that is the reason why the East was so stymied, is because every effort to get this knowledge and information out was shut down completely. But only in the Middle East, and not in the West, and not through the Roman Empire, not through the Greeks, which is why we're so Western inspired. And because all of that stuff managed to go that way, but that Eastern influence didn't get there, because that one particular area got hit really hard with the "we need to be religious" bug.
Yeah. And then with the fall of Rome and ancient antiquity, we just kind of left that behind. We left education and everything behind as like a remnant of the past, and that's why we call it the Dark Age. People stopped studying. The poverty, the abject, everything just fell apart. Just nobody traveled anymore. Economies failed. Trade just about disappeared. It was just absolute squalor, and it took a long time for us to get ourselves out of that. And it wasn't until the end of the Middle Ages when we started to get to the Renaissance, where education and things started to revive and come back.
And then religion tried its best to stick it to it. It really
there came a point where things just, you can't stop science. You can't stop reality. I mean, eventually people will start figuring things out for themselves. And that's why that period at the end was called the Renaissance, because people started reviving and started a whole new renaissance of learning about science and maths and all that education, and enriching themselves and their children and future generations, until they reached the point where, religion had one of two choices: either hit the road, don't come back, or start participating and start accepting the reality of it. You
You just get with
know,
the time, get with the times, and get out of the way.
that's right. And they're still having a difficulty with that in many
Right.
ways. You know,
Something I myself, I'm aware Elizabeth Sylvester, we're getting a little bit of feedback on Reasons End. He's using his speakers, but it may be hit or miss. But we'll try to keep it to a minimum. One
Yeah.
thing I'd really love to see in the Band of Progress, eventually, if you ever get to it, is the one thing I've come across in my studies, because I've had to go into in getting into the subjects that I get into, I've had to dive really, really hard into archaeology and the geopolitics of ancient cultures. So the Egyptians, the Hittites, the Syrians, the Persian Empire, the Greeks, the Romans, the Byzantine Empire, going all the way back to the Akkadians, the Sumerians, Babylonians, because it wasn't just about, a bunch of people who believed in a bunch of gods and did a bunch of stuff. There was legitimate government there. There was government there. There were laws there. They had rules. These things inspired other things. And trying and getting a real grasp on this has been very interesting, and how we're able to confirm what we know about other civilizations based on the trade relations that they had with other ones. But my curiosity is essentially it's how Exodus is debunked, is because all you have to do is you don't look at the Jewish story, you don't look at the Jewish story and the Egyptian story. That's two sides of the story. You go outside of it and you say, well, if these events happened, let's go look at the Syrians. What did the Syrians have to say? What did the Hittites have to say? What do all these other groups have to say when this giant power vacuum is now? And then we come to the conclusion, the Exodus story is not supported by history. And so, but one thing I found, and I think is fascinating, is the role that diseases played in the shaping of the world we have today. That it's the reason we have the Western influence that the Western influence of the Greeks to the Romans to today here in the West is because of the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
That the reason the Jewish faith survived was most likely because of either plague or cholera. That if it weren't for those diseases, it was essentially the story around Jerusalem, that when Jerusalem was attacked by the Syrians, that because Jerusalem was basically a walled fortress, and they couldn't get in. So they were trying to wait them out. And what's hypothesized is that there was either a cholera from contaminated water, because the water source for Jerusalem was blocked. So they had to go a long way to get their water. Well, contaminated water supply leads to cholera, or there was a bubonic plague outbreak that decimated the army that was encamped around Jerusalem. If they had taken Jerusalem, they would have killed everyone, and the Jewish faith would have died right there.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention that. It's really, really ironic you mentioned that. The first, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but as we move into Series 5, the first episode, you're going to hear a bit about that. Because a lot of people attribute the bubonic plague to the Dark Ages, right? But it actually showed up during the fall of late antiquity.
Yes,
during Constantine and it's just Justinian, during Justinian's war or Justinian's rule in late antiquity, before the actual final fall, and the rise of the Byzantine Empire. That's when the bubonic plague showed up. And
I addressed
that it came up from Africa and the Middle East.
I addressed that a little briefly when I was talking about a pastor who was talking about like signs of the end times, like that this is the end is coming. The logolurgy, as Creaky likes to call it, as it's the end times. Like, dude, man, people have been claiming that it was the end times since Justinian. Okay, since those wars, when the plague showed up, or the Spanish flu showed up, or something showed up, and it's like it's going to be the end. I say it's not, Chief. Trust me, we've been through a bunch of them.
As a matter of fact, it's that first appearance of the bubonic plague that is responsible for the disappearance of the Huns. That they just disappeared from history. That's it. They were done.
And the reason the Byzantine Empire lost its grasp, weakened its grasp enough for the Romans to take over. essentially what
Well,
gave rise to the Roman Empire, or was it? Or do I have it reversed?
it was the other way around.
Other way around. The Romans began to, they were too spread out, and then the bubonic plague came in, and they basically loosed their grasp, and the Byzantine Empire was able to rise up.
Yeah, it was more of a division where the Byzantine Empire or the Holy Roman Empire under Charlemagne started to move more towards the control of greater Europe, and as their influence in Turkey or Istanbul and the Middle East started to wane, that's when the Byzantine Empire really rose, and they ruled for another 1,000 years, I think it was. Several hundred anyway. And then they started to come apart during the Crusades and blah, blah, blah. But these are all things during this period, this time track that leads to the Renaissance. That's what we're going to be covering in Series 5.
I find that it's fascinating how microbiology has played such a role in shaping human history. That's what got. I mean, I just like I got a hold of that the first time. I was like, if one particular bug hadn't showed up at one particular time, we'd all be speaking another language, and that just blows my mind. It's almost like it's like when you find out that Marco Polo almost wiped out China, introducing polished rice to them, and it's kind of like, what? It's like, something as simple as that. Westerners didn't like brown rice. They polished rice, bring it back. Polished rice is great. And now we're all, vitamin D deficiency. We're almost all dead. It's wild shit like that. That just, it's beyond cool. So this is the pain of, right there, a little bit of pain of progress right there. It's like the reason we have polished rice, and it almost resulting in the decimation of the Asian culture. Interesting stuff. I love this kind of thing. And you're just about to go into season 5?
That's right. We've got part 1 of the Greeks was aired this morning. Part 2 is next week, and then we got one more civilization after that. So that's another 3 weeks or so. Then I'm probably going to take a 1 or 2 week hiatus to get things prepared. I'll be releasing some promos and stuff in the meantime. In between, and then we're going to launch with Series 5 hopefully by the end of next month at the latest.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
And the first episode is going to be on the fall of or late antiquity.
Fantastic. All right. So for everybody in the live chat, I know we had some new people that just popped in. I will say hi to you in just a moment. We've been talking with Steaming Cup of Reason and his series, The Pain of Progress, which is about to go into its 5th season, which is pretty badass. Moderators, if you get the opportunity, if you can link Steaming Cup of Reason's channel, and of course, The Pain of Progress in the chat, that would be really, really helpful. And I will add those to the description when I get the opportunity. So this has been amazing. Thank you. This has been fantastic.
I could talk about this stuff all day.
As a matter of fact, I want to take a moment to say hi to some people. I see some more people jumped in. And I don't know how things are going over on the plot hole at the moment, but I'm getting some feedback about that. But we'll see what happens. Let me see. Look at that. McKinnon Mitchell is in the house. McKinnon Mitchell is someone I am looking forward to speaking with. He's going to be hopefully if he's still available, he's going to be the second guest tonight. He is currently in the chat. McKinnon, welcome. Thank you so much for popping in. And he was talking about things that we could definitely. McKinnon Mitchell says 2 things that we can in this country we can do to radically help improve the future is 1, bolster the lower class, and then of course fund the shit out of education. I can guarantee you, if I was president, I would reduce it. That's one of the first things I would do is reduce defense funding by 10%, and then take the 10% and dump it directly into infrastructure. That includes healthcare, streets and bridges, and education. A 10% infusion, I would take that money and just like 1, 2, 3. Everybody gets a third. Do what you can with that. And then from the progress we make off of that third, we will justify it for the next one, because we do not need to spend more than the 25 countries beneath us, 24 of which are allies. It is insane and unnecessary. So that's just, sure. Okay. You won't have 17 aircraft carriers. You can make do with 15, my friend. So
Yes,
it's pretty much what, pretty much my
exactly.
my mentality.
Since
on that.
most of your other allies don't even have one.
Right. It's just like, come on, come on. This whole, it's just it's just beyond the pale. And it probably, actions like that would probably not get me reelected, but I wouldn't care. I would sacrifice a political career to make permanent change. I really, really would. All right, I see. They smoked the mods smote that mod. I do appreciate it, y'all. I see McKinnon Mitchell. Yeah, good to see you. And I see Don Giovanni's in the house. Good to see you, Don Giovanni. I have not seen the World War II in real time show. I've seen a couple of videos about that. So I haven't seen, but you may have to link that for us. Peter Noddle's in the house. Good to see you, Peter Noddle. Thank you so much.
Hey,
This teaching needs more attention. It definitely does. Thank you so much for being here, Peter. Ronan just dropping by. Says, just dropping by to give a like, JL. Archangel 3 here. Can't get too into World War II or Korea. This is too effed up for me. What's going on now with Ukraine? And as a fourth generation service member, it's so insane right now. And if you want, there is a link in the description. If you would like to find a different ways to support relief efforts in Ukraine, so that is in the description as well.
Awesome.
Let me see. Cindy Winston's in the house. Good to see you, Cindy Winston. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, that's true, Mr. E-Man. Yeah.
An old supporter of mine, Ugly German Truths. He's in
Ugly,
the chat.
Ugly German Truths. See him in there?
It's been a while since I've seen him.
He says, well, the Jewish faith kind of did die in 70 AD when the temple was raised. It's never been quite the same. This is true. This is true. And that's another interesting thing, is the influx of external cultures as other cultures were rebuilding, which you can see, which occurred with pretty much everyone, which occurred pretty much throughout human history. The biggest one, this most recent we can see, is the effect of Westernism on Japan post-World War II. Is that as we help them rebuild, Western ideology, Western culture kind of infected Japan as they rebuilt, which led to the the social archetype of the working man, the Japanese working man. Yeah, absolutely. And I see Titan Uranus in this. I will definitely tighten my Uranus. Hello, human. Good to see you, Titan. Thank you for being here. JT Davis 62 is in the house. Good to see you, JT. And it says the Huns didn't totally disappear from history. They assimilated and they were swallowed up. No doubt. There's probably a bit of that. And I see who else we got here. And I think JT Davis, Don Giovanni, Ugly German Truths, Peter Noddle. And I think, oh, good. And I'm all caught up. And Peter Noddle says, and that's why you're not a politician. Too honest and smart. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And there was a comment a little earlier that said that the Huns didn't disappear from history; they just assimilated. Well, that is kind of true to a certain extent. But again, one of the things I would like to reiterate, if you don't mind, a lot of people expect the pain of progress to be the end-all, definitive, factual, accurate truth. That's not what we're all about. The pain of progress, yes, sometimes I do take a little bit of creative license and I generalize and simplify. So my content is not meant to be 100% accurate. So yes, you'll find some little indiscrepancies like that, but the general concept of what I'm trying to communicate is still the same. They got hit by a disease and they started dropping in numbers and eventually they were forgotten about, which is what I meant when I said they disappeared from history. I just wanted to kind of clarify that for people. Definitely. Don't expect 100% accurate information. I'm trying to simplify for those who have an interest and might like to learn more.
DeLong here, what you're hearing is feedback on the other side. As I'm coming through steaming speakers is where you're getting that.
And I do apologize for that, everyone, but there's really very little I can do about it. And if I wear my headphones, the ringing in my ear gets intolerable. So, I'll do my best to monitor my levels, but I do apologize.
See, I'm curious about because if we have the only thing that get me is that when I bring on McKinnon, I just want to make sure because that'll be two voices coming through, and I don't want it to be overwhelming for everybody because I don't want anybody to get drowned out.
Yeah, I'm going to try and put on my headphones and just keep them low, and hopefully that should be okay. So just give me a second, and I'll make the switch. I got to go grab them though.
If possible, yeah. I mean, try going one ear. Would that if that helps at all? Let me see here. Let me get this invite. Boom. Here we go. Copy that. All right. Let me get this over to him. And all right. Okay. Let's see what we got here. And Charlie's got the exact opposite. It says headphones are the only thing that I have that helps my tinnitus. I've noticed that on occasion, listening to some YouTube videos, listening to some YouTube videos, that sometimes I'll get a weird. It's odd. Just I guess the way the audio is processed. And so, thank you very much, S.C.O.R. That was been an awesome conversation, and we have a second person we're bringing in. So I want to give a little bit of I put out a community post on the channel earlier today, and that was about a docuseries that I found called The Weakness of Kent Hovind. This was, I was like, okay, it's new information. I just released a video on Matt Powell and dissecting one of his arguments. We're actually going to look at him again today. And I am really, really curious because I got in touch with the guy who made this docuseries, and this thing was amazing. And I'll be honest, what you hear in it and the link for that, the link to go find that is in that community post. And I'll also add it to the description here in this video after the fact. But what you hear will probably not surprise you, but it will make the image, the picture much, much clearer because this guy did his homework. So I want to welcome everybody in the live chat, give a huge, giant welcome to McKinnon Mitchell.
Hey.
Oh, he's here.
Hello.
Fresh from talking to Aaron Raw too.
Yeah, I just got off the call though.
I messaged McKinnon and I was kind of like, "Hey, dude, it was just I really want to get you on. I want to chat about this. This thing was amazing. You have part 3 coming out here pretty soon, which I really look forward to." And I'll tell you, we'll get into reasons why because I'm actually involved a little bit with another friend of mine, the Plot Hole, in doing some investigating into the financial aspects of what they have going on across Florida, Alabama, Maryland, Nevada, all kinds of stuff that we're diving into. You're jumping at it from another angle entirely, which is just fascinating to me. So I had to get this dude on. I was like, "Hey, man, you want to come on the channel?" And his response to me was, "You have to give me a minute. I'm waiting for Aaron Raw to come back with a drink so I can interview him." I was like, that is the best reason to not be available. So McKinnon, I checked out your channel. Really, really good stuff. And then you've got this docuseries. So doing, obviously, investigative journalism, no easy task. And especially a subject like Kent Hovind. Because the more that gets out, I'm just going to be straight out with my opinion. I've covered him on my channel. I've addressed him. I don't have enough clout for him to come chasing after me anymore. But I know once I break, if I ever break like 50,000 subs, he'll come after me. I know that. But the reality is, because as you've said, he's an unextraordinary person who comes after people that he thinks are up there. And so I'm really curious, what made you dive into this? What's the journey been like for these first 2 episodes?
I got into it because actually Aaron Raw, he has a bit of content about Kent Hovind and everything. So I started watching from there. And I guess I'm just naturally curious. So I started looking into Kent Hovind. And as I said in the first episode, he's interesting, just not in a good way. You start to dive into it, you just uncover like, oh, so he went to prison. Oh, he has 40 or 58 felony counts, or he has this issue with his wife. He dinosaur vigilante, a whole lot of stuff. You start digging more and more and more. And it was just interesting. So at first I was just trying to find out some information, but then he does a lot of things that are very horrible. And I think the first thing that started it was just this really ugly comment that he made about Bill Ludlow after he had passed away, and the disrespect that he showed to the family, who was still just a few days into mourning, the loss of their family member, and there's no remorse on this guy, and so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll debate him, but then I don't know anything about evolution. That's not my thing, so I was like, well, I do understand pretty well about arguing against religion in general. So I'll take that approach. He usually doesn't do that tactic. But then as things got further and further, and the more research I did, I was like, this kind of needs to be a docuseries. And it's a bit hypocritical because I keep telling people, let this dude fade away into obscurity. Just ignore him because he is only surviving off of us.
Right.
We're keeping him relevant. And so I've made a promise to myself and to anybody who's asked, the moment this docuseries is over, I'm never even mentioning his name again. I'll never go near that again. That said, it's funny you mentioned Matt Powell. The next video I'm going to be doing once this docuseries is over is reviewing a sermon about Matt Powell. But I also want to make sure people are aware, that, and it really pains me because a lot of people are subscribing to the channel just within 3 weeks, and they're really liking the content. I'm not doing this type of content once this docuseries is over. The type of content I'm doing is going to be more like my Life After God video, more introspective and comedic and touching personal topics. But Matt Powell is the last person that I'm going to be doing a video of in the Hovinverse. And after that, I'm out. But as for the experience, it's been remarkably dreadful. I hate this project, and I know that's like everyone who's loving this. They're like, "Oh man, I love it," and they keep getting all these comments. This is great work. This is great work. And I'm like, the first episode had a lot of audio issues. I really hate the condition the first episode's in. The second episode, I quoted the court transcript, and it was inaccurate about a certain type of gun. But I was like, I can't not quote the transcripts. I figure I need to keep that information, accurate, whatever. So I just showed people had issues with that. This whole project, and not to mention listening to Kent Hovind, his voice is unbearable. And I've been doing this for 2 years.
Him and Powell are both unbearable. It's like Hovind's narcissistic arrogance, and then Powell's condescending. It's just like
the perfect form.
And the video that I covered on Powell, though, the one that I just released earlier today, was about Powell did this attack vid where he was strawmanning atheists, saying like, look at all these atheists and look at the stuff they have on their walls. They like anime, they like gaming. And I was like, my initial response was like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
What are these jerks doing?
It's like, I have it's signed by Stan Lee, which is why it's in my office, but I have a comic book here. This doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about the urethro dilemma, you friggin' moron. So, it's like what? So I had to break it apart, and it's nothing but straw man. It's nothing but ad homs, and then he makes I shit you not. At the very end of he's like, I don't say this to be condescending. I wanted to punch my monitor. It's like I think this asshole believes what he's saying. It's like, oh, it was gross. It was so gross. So I'm looking forward to what you have to say about him as well.
Yeah, it's about his sermon that he has on love and marriage and pornography, and I laughed my ass off the entire time. And I'm like, that is the type of content that I want to make, though, because of things that I had to say about it. It's supposed to be fun to watch. This docuseries, it's not fun, and it's not fun to make. I'm doing it because I think it's important. I'm hoping that this helps protect. I mean, I'm an atheist, but I hope this helps protect other creationists from going to Kent, and the whole docuseries is going to end, with me saying, like, look, there's plenty of good-hearted, creationists out there. Go support them. They're not going to hurt you, and that's what this really is about. But it's a grueling process, and I'm so ready to be done with it.
Yeah.
So you say that, and I know that you had to push episode 3 back, and I admire your adherence to journalistic ethics in that, because once something's down, I mean, I'm kind of the mind when I was doing that. The only time I didn't use somebody's information was when they specifically said, don't tell them that you got this info from me. And I'm like, okay, fantastic. Then I can only go with what I can verify. But because if I just start claiming stuff, then that becomes problematic. But yeah, I mean, I try to get as close to the line as I possibly can, and without crossing it. And I admire that, because some people will just go, when it's a character like Kent Hovind, I know the inclination is there to hit that dude where it counts, and because the damage he does. Yeah. I mean, that whole NDA shit, I had no idea that went down. Why he has a group after that? I mean, come on. When you immediately after the IRS investigators leave and you force everyone there to sign an NDA, it was like, fuck yourself, I'm out. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, seriously? It's like, oh, and then that's what I don't get. So we see the damage he does. The inclination could be there to really, really strike and just be done with this, because he is a parasite. And I admire that, and that's awesome to do that. And you pushing back 3, but you say episodes, and the end of that. So there's more than 3.
Yeah, there's 6.
Holy shit!
Oh jeez! Oh, talk about self-inflicted pain.
How far did this rabbit hole go, man?
Well, here's the thing: I'm not actually even covering everything. My perspective on this is really just because there's been plenty of people who make content like Arn Raw. It's all about the arguments that Kent makes, and he just sets whether or not they're valid. I'm not doing that, even though the comments from the people who support Kent Hovind seem to think that I'm making some statement against creationism or promoting evolution, which I'm not. That's not the topic. The topic is who Kent is as a person. But I can only do so much, and there's quite a bit that I'm leaving out. So I'm hoping that people be inspired to look further into it themselves. But there's a lot, but I'm not even including everything. But I'm just really trying to focus on different phases and different phases of his life and different aspects of his character. And so every episode is kind of focused on a different phase, but also it corresponds to a flaw or a character of his, the personality of his.
And I have to admit, and one thing I wanted to drive people to go and see this thing is because it gives us an A to B to C to D kind of look as to how he's evolved over time. The information he got that helped to cultivate the meme that we have that is Kent today. And then we can see how that is going off and influencing a bunch of other people, a la Matt Powell. And I found that was really interesting, because I did a previous video, but it was actually because my Bridge the Divide series typically doesn't get hit monetized. I put up my first one that got hit for limited ad ability because I addressed the new IFB. Right. And you touched briefly on that with Steven Anderson, and I looked at Bruce Mejia and a number of those others. And I thought it was interesting because when I was going through the new IFB, I wasn't aware, but did you find a connection between that cult? That is a Baptist cult, is what that is. No different than the Branch Davidians. That is a Baptist cult. Is there a connection between Matt Powell and them? Because I myself didn't find one, or is that I just drawing an illusion that wasn't there?
It's really just showing Matt Powell, like if he doesn't claim he's an independent, IFB individual, he sure as hell talks like one. That's where just like the point isn't that they're specifically with Greg Locke, who's like talking about witches in his church or something, but they have the same essential mentality and the same talking points and the same, it's really, like I said, if he's not IFB, he's as close as you can be to one without being one.
That's nuts. Oh, Ugly German Truths. I almost misspoke. It's when it comes to hate preaching, I almost went to Westboro. I think Westboro is its own animal, and I think that they were another cult. They were another offshoot of Baptist, but they weren't new IFB. New IFB was specifically started up by Steven Anderson, and that was started up, I think, actually close to or after the death of Fred Phelps. So I think it's two different animals, just like the Branch Davidians were outside of that. So the Branch Davidians is another Baptist cult. Westboro is another Baptist cult. The IFB is another Baptist cult. It's just the IFB has gotten the kind of, I guess, because Steven is young and he's charismatic and he's gotten a bunch of people underneath his belt. That's why they have like 32 congregations around the world, 16 of which are here in the States. I know that Mejia is out in El Monte and from an undisclosed location because I don't know if you know what happened at the El Monte church. And then of course, Anderson is in Tempe, is in Arizona.
Yeah,
but
Peter Nautle says we should try an intervention and get Matt Powell out of his cult. I think he's in too deep. I think it's too late.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, okay, I got to ask you this, McKinnon, because I haven't watched the sermon that you're referring to. Did he get weepy? Did he start crying again?
I don't recall him crying at all. He does a really weird voice when he's sitting there claiming that women are like begging their men to marry them and things, and I'm like, fucking who? Like, there's a bunch of claims that he made. I'm like, show me one person, but a bunch of the claims that he makes, but he doesn't cry. Not that I saw.
I've seen a couple where he just gets really, really weepy, and he just starts, oh, I'm so filled. He's like, oh, it was like, wow. I was like, wow, I don't know. I think he's like 23. I think he's like 22, 23 years old. It's like,
no, I think he's 28 or 27 or 28.
27?
I think he and I are the same age.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Matt, show me on the banana where your feelings are hurt.
Dr. Peel. Thank you, Simon Dan, for that meme. Yes. So 6 episodes of this, and we're only 2 in so far. I can't even imagine. I touched briefly on a video that I did when I was concerning Dinosaur Adventureland, and I don't know if you're going to go into any of this, but I addressed, because I found that CSE and GodQuest were both attached, and of course Ernie Land is problematic. So predominantly my focus was on Ernie Land and his connection to a number of MLMs that failed MLMs in the past, and the current one that he's running, which is like the Liquid Hercules crap and shit like that. I did a breakdown of why it's garbage and why it doesn't work and it's just junk, and the connection of that to that. So we've got a forensic accountant who's currently diving into and trying to find the connections between the real estate stuff that's going on in Florida and GodQuest, CSE, Dinosaur Adventureland, and seeing how Ernie Land factors into all of this, and trying to find the movement of money is what we've been looking at. Do you happen to go into that direction, or do you stay? Is this solely Kent? And
slowly staying on Kent. Yeah, and I've tried. If you saw that one video on my channel where I called Brady Byram, what you don't see in that video is that I had to at the beginning. I didn't state who I was, and the questions and things that I was asking him. I was trying to seem like I was on his side, but also without lying, because I was trying to get him to talk. And then eventually, when I did tell him my name, he freaks out and he gets really nervous. And he's like, "You're McKinnon Mitchell?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he just realized everything he just told me. But the thing is, they act so weird. And Cindy Lincoln, who I've talked to, she told me, because I contacted her 2 years ago, because I've been working on this for 2 years, the research aspect of it. And when I contacted her, she was still, in support of Kent. They hadn't really had this issue yet. But she told me that whenever I called, Kent, when I called Ernie Land, when I called Brady Byram 2 years ago, and called Cindy Lincoln, I told them, when I talked to them, I was like, "Look, I'm just trying to get you to tell your side. And the parameters of the interview were going to be as follows. I would ask him a series of questions, and based upon those questions, he would give his answers, and I wouldn't even challenge him on anything he said. Whatever he wants to say, he can say it, and I will run it, as you say. I wouldn't twist your words, and I even explained the process that I would put in place that would protect his words from being twisted. I couldn't do it without being caught, essentially. That is as fair as I can, you could possibly be.
Right.
And it's more fair than Kent deserves. But I offered to him, and that offer still stands until the last episode airs. And Kent can make 100,000 response videos. I ain't responding to a single thing. If he wants to defend himself, he can come and do an interview under the same parameters. And for 2 years, he has come up with every different excuse he could possibly come up with. And he said, no, you're going to twist my words. I'm like, you can't claim that because I've already explained to you the process that's put in place that protects your word. So what's your excuse now? Well, my attorney won't let me talk about Cindy Lincoln. You have talked about Cindy Lincoln 7 times on your channel in a live stream over and over, going into some detail before you even claimed this. So now you're saying your attorney is now saying you can't do it. Well, that's not quite the case. I'm like, can I talk to your attorney? And I was like, I'll give him the info, and you can approve it and say if you're good to go, if you're not. He gives me the phone numbers of the attorney. Attorney never calls back. And Kent also, there's plenty of conversations that he and I have had, and a lot of different text threads. All of them that he has said, I don't want you to say that or repeat that. I'm not going to, because despite my feelings about Kent, I'm not. If he says it's off the record, it's off the record.
Right.
Simple as that. But he has every opportunity, every safeguard in place. But he keeps saying, anytime someone talks about, Cindy Lincoln does an interview or somebody talks about him, you judge me before you even let me, before you even heard my side of the story. You have an open invitation to tell your side of the story directly in this docuseries. We have an entire episode dedicated to where you can just tell your side, and you wouldn't even be challenged. He won't do it.
And that, folks, is what we call journalistic integrity.
Yes.
Everyone keeps saying that. I got that comment like, "Oh my God, this is such great journalistic integrity." I'm like, you guys, I don't feel like I deserve that.
I have to admit, I try to adhere to it myself, and I'm a little bit rougher around the edges, so it's tough. And I did the same thing when I did a breakdown of Darth Dawkins, and I got on the phone. I had to talk to people and spoke to specific individuals that I still can't talk about because they don't want him knowing that they talked about him with their previous relationships or what was going on, because they're afraid of reprisals directly from him. And but I had those, and it was like, and then of course I did the video. I talked about what I could talk about, and there were some vague, like I said, I'm a little rough around the edges. There were some vague allusions to things, but just enough to not get me in trouble, but just enough to give the idea, the impression, kind of like what John Oliver does, that sense, try to like just play it to that to that level. And obviously he comes at me. It's like, well, who the hell did you talk to? He's like, I can't tell you that, man. It's been these people have requested that I can't reveal my sources, and they're like, "How dare you? You're not a journalist." It's like, if I'm doing something if I'm doing a piece that is reporting on an actual topic, and the topic is you, then I can't reveal this because these this is what's called journalistic integrity, and I got a lot of flack for that. But you're on the ball, and I really, really appreciate that, because there needs to be a better example of that. And people need to have a sense of what legitimate journalism actually is, not this clickbait bullshit that everybody is used to, that gives them what they want to hear and paints things in a particular picture that only serves to create more societal divide.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to bridge it.
Nice segue.
Nice segue. Nice segue. Bridge the divide. I see what you did.
But I don't really follow this stuff as much as you guys do, but I've always wondered, is there a connection between Kent Hovind and that Ken Ham and that 20-acre sieve he's got in Arkansas?
They know of each other. I know Ken Ham has like repeatedly tried to get Kent to stop saying a lot of the things he says, because he keeps saying like, "You are embarrassing Christianity. Please stop." I mean, he doesn't say that to everything, of course. I mean, they agree on many things. But there's just certain things that, I think in the interview I just had with Aaron Raw, he talks about an example of some shark that Kent was trying to claim was a plesiosaur. And Ken's like, "Please stop saying that. You don't know what you're doing to Christianity. People are leaving."
You're hurting the cause, man. You're hurting the cause.
I was just wondering.
I think a 500-foot leaking boat attraction in the middle of Kentucky is hurting the cause more than Ken Ham actually thinks. My friend Johnny O and I intend this summer, we are going to make a journey out to the Ark Encounter, because we got to see it for ourselves. Every time I see this thing, I was like, I've seen pictures and I've seen some brief little things. We're going in there and we're diving deep. And I know I'm going to pay the admission. I don't care. I can write it off and as a business expense. But I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be like, what is going on with this? How do you justify dinosaurs on the Ark? I'm really, really curious how you're doing this. And the big thing, I want to see how they misrepresent the science. I just, because you hear about misrepresentations like Mary Schweitzer and all kinds of stuff. I just want to see how hard in the paint they're going to go. So this has been, I see a bunch of people are popping in from the Johnny O stream. Fantastic. Y'all are welcome. Thank you all so much for popping in. Mr. Flibble says, JL, be fair. Kent Hovind is a strapping raw stallion of a man, full of beef and pure man.
Oh, jeez.
He certainly convinced himself he is. It's interesting that you talked to Cindy because I did on my last live stream. I covered that 45-minute thing because I had to. I had to cover that whole live stream he did when he said he was going to destroy all the atheists in one. Like it was like I like taking out atheists with a shotgun. Here's a boom, take them all out at once. And I was kind of like, okay, so you're going to take us all out. And he had a bunch of pictures up there of all the people he's talking about. And I was like, okay, let's hear what you have to say. So he's going to say, and he said, I'm going to set the record straight. This is what's going down. I'm going to blow you all out of the water, and it's done. And all he did was for 45 straight minutes piss and moan about everyone's misrepresenting him. Everyone is lying. Everyone's against him. No one's got the right deal with no evidence, no reports, no legal suits, no nothing, citing how this is not right on the police report. This is not right on this. And all it was just him pissing and moaning, presenting nothing, destroying nothing, whining about his woe is me bullshit. And then talking to a bunch of people who fluff him up like they were amateurs on a set.
Yeah. No, it was extremely frustrating, especially since he kept claiming like, you just judged me, didn't let me tell you my side. I'm sitting there in the live stream. I'm like, I gave you an opportunity, and you still have it until the end of this, like the last episode. And after that, it's gone. But do not sit here and try to claim that you're just going to judge me without even hearing my side. I am literally trying to hear your side, But anytime I'm going to make a claim, because one of the episodes is going to be specifically about Kent's history, his violent history, to which it goes back quite a bit.
Yes.
And one of them, I'm going to, I try to preface everything I say, because there's going to be a part where there's the actual, evidence of violence, and there's going to be a lot of other examples that are all of his analogies, essentially. His examples involve a lot of violent imagery. Like even with evolution, anytime he talks about an animal, let's put an animal in a blender and just see if anything comes out of it. Or he talks about, like you just mentioned, where he's like, I'm going to shotgun blast all of these. They're easy pickings. There's so many targets. Like all of your analogies really seem to center around violence quite often, So there's a long history of him either making actual violent attacks or, feigning to violence, which is also in the second episode where he's sitting there telling the IRS, agents that are investigating him, he quoted him Psalms 55.
Just think death will come upon him. Yeah.
Let death seize upon them. Like, dude, you cannot sit here and act like you're not wanting people to die or you don't want to kill folk. Like that's very apparent.
The government agents coming in, and then they said like, "Yeah, you got any weapons around here?" They go like that. The government agents doing their job, and then you drop that on them. What the? Seriously?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're looking for a particular response, you're trying to goad them into doing something. You're doing a damn good job of setting it up. And then of course all of his lies and all of his bullshit. So it's fascinating and new information. There's some stuff that I didn't know. The influences of the previous pastors, Morris and
Tom Malone,
Morris and Malone, their influences on him in his early education. And I like and this that conclusion that this is an unextraordinary man who has done everything he thinks is right or anything he thinks possible to make himself extraordinary.
Yeah.
And not realize.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's just and not realizing that he's having the exact opposite effect.
Yeah. I got a lot of responses from that first episode. Even my wife is my quality assurance person. Anything I create, anything I write, any video I create, I'm like, sit down, watch it, please. But she always, it actually infuriates me because I'll sit there working on something for like 3 months. I'm like, babe, I can't seem to get this to work. And she'll just walk in there for like 5 seconds, like, why don't you just do this? I'm like, like, for 3 months I've been stressing over this thing. You could have just came in here any second and just helped me out. But she goes through it. And the response that she and a lot of people gave to the first episode was like, you made me feel bad about Kent, like bad for him, because like at the end of the day, and a lot of people keep saying this, are you trying to absolve him of the things he's done? Because he is just another indoctrinated kid, and they put a lot of these ideas in him. And when you hear that, you're like, oh man, like you realize, because even when I was talking to Cindy Lincoln, she's wanting me to do like, he's a monster, he's this. I'm like, he's a piece of shit, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, he is still a person. And I think it's unwise for people to try to paint individuals as monsters, because then you forget that there's a human there. And it's not that he lacks agency. Everything he did. He is responsible. But there is a person there who had a past and things that influence where they got. And so really that whole episode was more just about not just in religion in general, because I think I disagree with a lot of atheists who are just, like religion is entirely poison. And I'm like, I'm an atheist, don't get me wrong, but there's some people out there who they're entirely good moral people. They don't follow their religions, to the T, good thing. But, the religion isn't inherently bad. It's just where you get that source. But that one was more about he came from a really bad source, and they put those ideas of him.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like that. No, go ahead, Reason. I apologize.
Yeah. My partner is like that. She's a very devout Christian, and I support that 100%. It makes her very, very happy. She believes in it. It gives her peace and so on. So I encourage it. I don't dissuade her from following that at all. And she never once forces me to follow the same thing. And I have a lot of respect for that. But then you got guys like Greg Locke and that are really creating a world of what I would call toxic Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly think, and it's awesome, McKinnon, that you're following the Greg Locke. I would say his descent as closely. So I've been watching that, and my conclusion of that is just watching the things that he's putting out is that things started to come unravel for him, and it wasn't so much the Dunkin' Donuts episode. That was just Greg being Greg.
Yeah.
It was the tornado. And when that tornado ripped through Tennessee and took out his tent, and I think that event really, really messed him up, because in his mind, any destruction or anything that would level him or set him back is an instrument of the devil. That Satan himself sent that tornado, and God allowed it to happen because it's a big test, because he intends bigger things for Greg, to build back bigger, to build back stronger, to come back more influential, so on and so forth. But then that tornado hits, and then he gets banned from Twitter.
Yeah,
and then he gets his Twitter account shut down. And the regrowth is slow, plodding, and at times he's just plateauing out. His congregation is not getting any bigger. He's not raking in. I mean, he's got the money. He could just do it, but you got to get that money. You got to shill that shit. You got to get the money from your congregation. It's not happening the way he wants it to happen. So he's everything that is standing in his way, which number one, it's himself.
Yep.
But everything standing in his way it's come down to calling out people for witchcraft in your own congregation is the reason why we're not successful. You start seeing enemies everywhere that's what's wild. And I think that slow descent, he's getting more off the rails. And I think it was that tornado was the kicker.
Yeah. And it's just the height of narcissism that that happened, and then you're now meant for something. It's like, dude, you were just a guy. You're just like everybody else. And I don't understand why that's such a bad thing. Why so many people are just, why can't you just be like everybody else? You can still do great special things, but you yourself aren't special. What you do should be special, but you're not meant for anything.
Right.
You choose what you do. And for him,
that's right.
He sees all of this as this is my destiny, and God's caring about me.
Yeah.
Dude, you're just a guy. Chill.
It's wild. It gets me, and I'm glad that you're taking this big hard look at Kent and diving into it in a way that I don't think anybody else has done before. I know Aaron has gone after his teachings, has gone after his education, has gone after all of his arguments and his BS. And and I love Aaron. I love Aaron to death. And I used to live so close to him, and I still haven't gotten an opportunity to meet him because he used to live like 45 minutes from me when I lived back in Texas. And I hope one day I can chat with him because I have so much respect for him. And then of course Emma Thorne has done her stuff, and I've covered Matt Powell, but you're hitting it in a way I don't think anybody has done before. And and I love that. And this is the kind of stuff that needs to be done so that people can see it in that as unbiased perspective as we possibly can. And because two things, it accomplishes two tasks. One, it gets the information out to everybody who needs it. And two, it's got to let them know I think normalizing atheism is one of the biggest hurdles that we have to overcome, is that we are all people. We are not all the same. We don't all believe the exact same things. Being an atheist does not say anything different about you, shouldn't say anything different about you than saying if you were a Christian, if you were a Buddhist, if you were a Hindu, if you were a Muslim. We're all just people in this. Because one day I would hope to see, my goal, I hope to one day see before I quit this world, is that an atheist can be elected into office.
Yeah.
Because where we stand now, that will never happen. I mean, I myself have kind of like, I'm almost 42 now, and getting into what I'm getting into, I have up here in this little small kind of rural area of Oklahoma where I'm at, I've been afforded the opportunity to start to kind of, I would say, group people together for a more to get a louder voice going. We because up here in Oklahoma there's the bill they were trying to pass that would basically protect conversion therapy from ever being outlawed. And so we went hard against that one, but we had to group together and get everyone together. So I've been able to do that. And I've been thinking, maybe I could run for office something like this. Would I get elected? They find out I'm an atheist? Most likely not. Regardless. And I would like to see that happen, where I could say I'm an atheist, and I still have the best in mind for my community, the best in mind for my society. In fact, I see you in there said Trump was an atheist. Maybe he was. Either that he was the worst kind of Christian possible. I know that guy lied about everything. That guy would lie about the weather when he was standing out in it. I get it. Maybe he was an atheist, but I don't want to have to be like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian like that. And then once I'm in office, like, oh, by the way, all that God stuff. But I hope one day we can normalize it. And it's reporting like this that will eventually, slowly but surely, will turn the tide. And as we've seen, Christianity begins to dip in America in favor for deism and in favor for atheism and agnosticism. Once that begins to dip, I think we will begin to see that. I just hope it will happen in my lifetime. And it's work that you're doing, which is why I so badly wanted to talk to you, that helps us to do that. So you are having, I know it's one project for you. It's 6 episodes long, a lot of work. And then when you're done with it, you're done with it. But that effect is necessary and is very, very positive. So I want to know that I see that. I want people to recognize the work, I would say the collateral effect that you're having.
Well, I mean, actually, what you mentioned, I mean, that is what my channel eventually is like once the docuseries is over. It is still like that bridging of the gap. I'm going to be talking a lot about, like I said, very personal, not just to me, but things about introspection, about individuals, but I'm doing it through an atheist lens, but it's really is supposed to have that effect where, people are they're more open to exploring different things. They're looking to, understand individuals more. Like I was talking about with Kent, it's really easy just to to turn him into a character, a monster, a cartoon to attack. But there is a person there, and if I'm the one making the docuseries, and even I'm saying that, I think that people need to take that away from the docuseries and the other videos as well. Anything I'm going to be talking about, it's really trying to make sure people are encouraged to dig deep into themselves, learn to, tolerate other individuals and really learn more about who they are. And then consequently being able to apply that to other people, see past just what these, extreme right-wing people are saying, and see that there's a person there, there's a past there. And if you're going to like just try to attack a character, you're never going to get anywhere. You have to see a person. And so, I mean, while the docuseries, like you mentioned, is, there's going to be that effect, I'm hoping all my content is going to, go towards that effect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is it. I mean, definitely. Everybody out there in the live chat, I see a lot of new people have popped in. I thank you all so much for being here. I've been talking with McKinnon Mitchell about his series, The Weakness of Kent Hovind. You can find it on his channel. I'm going to put that link in the description below so that everybody can go find it. I also made a community post earlier today that had a link to his channel. Jump over there. You can smash the subscribe button. Be sure to hit that bell so you get notifications when there's going to be 4 more episodes of that coming out, and everybody needs to watch that. It's brilliant stuff. And like I said, you may not learn anything new, or what you learn may not surprise you, but it will definitely paint a clearer picture of the man and what is going on, maybe around him and of course upstairs. So thank you, McKinnon. I really do appreciate that. If you want to continue hanging out, I'm going to say hi to some people that just popped in. I got a couple of things I want to look at. One of them is a Matt Powell video that's kind of short where he talks about dinosaurs, and I think it might be funny as hell. So I'm going to say hi to some people who popped in here. I see that Johnny O's discussion just ended a little bit ago. So I see, let me pop. Here we go. To when they started coming. Oh, yeah. Fact, he said, JL, Johnny crowd coming. Fantastic. Cindy Sue, a member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much, Cindy Sue, for being here. I do appreciate it. Thank you for the support, hon. All of my channel members, I could not do this without you all. You all are amazing. Thank you so much. JT Davis 62 is in the house. Good to see you, JT. Don Giovanni as well. Good to see you. Thank you so much. He says, just mentioned that Kent was offered many opportunities for interviews, but he declined at the time of release. Yep. Is pretty much it. If he can't control the narrative, is what I found. If he doesn't think he can control the narrative, then he won't do it. And that's what's big about him. Just like the whole, after the IRS agents came in, pretty much, did the whole thing, and it was all very cordial, and it was pretty much the way it went. And then after they left, everybody's got to sign an NDA, so they legally can't talk about it, because you open your mouth, I get to sue you, and I get money out of you. Yeah. It's beyond me how that did not click with everybody standing around him be like, look, this is about money. Because you don't trust that we will protect you at all. Just like the conversation he had with his wife that you go on. I don't want to spoil it. You got to go and watch. The conversation he had with his wife when he was behind bars. So, yeah. Really, really interesting stuff. Really, really deep. Regios is in the house. Good to see you. Another member of the Godless Army. Thank you so much. Says Johnny O is done with the stream. I actually sent Johnny an invite. He could pop over here if he likes. He might be mad at me though. I don't know because I went live at the same time. Let me see who else. Gina S is in. Good to see you, Gina S. Thank you so much for being here. And I see Peter Noddle. Religion is its own embarrassment. It can be. It certainly can be on occasion. Mr. Flibble's in the house. Good to see you, Mr. Flibble, who in his raw stallion of a man. I can't get over that. It's hilarious. And some old dude is in the house. Good to see some old dude says they won't let you video inside the Ark. They won't let us. They won't let us.
I have body cams like the.
We have ways of making you talk.
I think it would be funny if you brought along a tin of pink dye, spilled it on the floor inside. But a month from now, the outside of the Ark will have this big pink stain as it seeps through.
See, that's the fun part about being filmmakers. Because on the other side, because I have two things. I have my personal channel, Bridge the Divide, and I have my horror film podcast that I do with Johnny O and Eugene and a number of other. And we're all filming. We're all professional filmmakers. We have movies that are going into production that are in various stages of production. We do this for a living, and so we do that. And of course, filmmakers, we have access to cameras. What are you going to do? So we'll find out. We'll find out when we get there. It'll be a lot of fun. I don't think anybody will recognize me. I don't think I'm big enough. Let me see who else is up in the house. Reggio says, covertly recording in the Ark. And I want to see what kind of security they stick on me. Ken Ham would be like, get them, boys. And I'll be like, yeah. Rumble in the Ark. That would be hilarious.
That would, man. See if we can get Jackie Chan in there.
You see Ken Ham just like freaking spear tackle me. Get out of here with your lies. Let me see who else popped in here. Aaron Reese is in the house. Good to see you, Aaron Reese, who says, I just call him Greg Fuck at this point, scumbag. Yeah, he's pretty atrocious. God, still that Dunkin' Donuts episode is just wow. I'm so mad about my coffee. I'm going to rant about it for 15 minutes in my car. Anyway. Let me see here. And I saw Gonna Go For It's in the house. Gonna Go For It says, can you thank McKinnon Mitchell for me about his amazing docuseries about Hovind? He has done a brilliant job.
Shit. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
I still don't feel like I deserve that.
Good work speaks for itself.
Oh yes, and I've subbed. I've got notifications on, and as long as YouTube holds up their end of it, I will see. I was like, well, I will stop everything to watch that when it comes out. So yes, definitely. And Gonna Go For It. Message me when you get an opportunity. Apparently, you have some secrets about StreamYard that I don't have that make me I could do cool things with StreamYard. So I was told to get in touch with you, and so hit me up at the Discord, on my Discord, or at my email, which you can access both of them. So let me know. And look who's here. Wow, Johnny O is in the house.
Ooh.
So to introduce, because we've been having a really great conversation, McKinnon, this is Johnny O from The Plot Hole. Johnny O, McKinnon Mitchell, the mind behind the docuseries, The Weakness of Kent Hovind.
Oh, wow. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I woke up this morning. We'll leave it at that.
That's a good sign.
You two are kicking my ass, like with the background. I was like, I had a cool, sweet background here. And then I'm looking at y'all, I was like, well, maybe I can still work on it.
Green screen, buddy. Green screen.
Yeah, I don't have a life-size fucking Jason in my background, so
Yeah.
As yes, I'm a big horror fan. Big horror fan.
I saw that
he likes scary movies too.
Yeah, I've got a few horror novels that I'm writing, so
Very
when I saw
cool.
you at the horror, podcast, I was like, oh, cool. That's pretty awesome.
Okay, you're right. So horror novels. I got to get with you because,
Oh, shit.
okay, so I'm just saying, this. Okay, so my nerddom is kind of coming out here. So I used to work for a convenience chain. I worked for him for almost 7 years. Soulless job, dumped money in my pocket. Yeah, they paid well, but I had no life because it's one of those things where it's like, we're going to pay you so much money, but your life is us.
Yeah.
7 years, I almost did this. I'm an actor by trade. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. I'm a director. And for 7 years, I couldn't do anything. So yeah, I had money. I bought a car. I got a house. I got married. Took a couple vacations. Nothing creative. I had no time and no energy really because it was sapping everything out of me. When I quit, when I left and I was done, I was like, the first thing I wanted to do was do something creative. And the first thing I did was I wrote my Lovecraftian-inspired novella, which is a nine short stories that are Lovecraftian-inspired.
Written in crayon.
Shut up. that I'm currently in the final editing phases of shoring up and getting it all like this. If you have input as to how to make that, to like put that in the world somehow, I would love that. So
yeah, I have input for you, but you don't ever listen. I'll tell you how to do it.
I don't believe anything you ever say anymore, Johnny.
I'm a published author. Are you?
Oh, fuck.
Aha. Ooh. Shots fired. Shots fired.
No, with me, like with the books that I have, the YouTube thing is, is one thing, but I have a bunch of different novels. The first thing is going to publish actually isn't a horror; it's a Western graphic novel. But I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to my books. I'm not publishing through anybody. I am starting my own, publishing company. I already have the printer set for it. I work in marketing, and a few of the companies I work for, like I have the money to do that. So my experience, even with YouTube, like one guy was asking, like, you got this many subscribers in 13 days. How'd you do that? It's like, I just know how the algorithms work. I have to advertise on these platforms all the time, so it's the same thing with the publishing company. I have the funds to be able to do it myself. And it's because I'm not giving, I know this sounds selfish, but this is my book. I'm not giving anybody money for my book. Like the publishing company is going to take, anywhere from 20 to 50%.
Right.
No, thanks. I wrote this thing. I'm illustrating it. And I'm writing it. So I'm like, it's not money, man. So that's kind of my experience, but so I don't know. in terms of like how to market the book, I could easily tell you how to do that, how to get on certain platforms, and even creating your own publishing company if you want to. But that's going to be my path.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. Very, very cool. Well, starting your own publishing company is definitely a way to go about it. So if you find my manuscript in your email, you'll know why.
No pressure. No pressure.
No. I don't expect anything, but you never can go wrong with as many beta readers as you can get. So just saying.
I've always decided that if I was going to publish somebody else's work in my company, they're going to get all the money. Like I'll platform it, I mean, they have to cover certain costs. I'll teach them how to market it, whatnot, but that's their book.
So what you're saying is you're going to be the Image Comics of publishing.
Oh,
that would be pretty cool if I can get that to that extent.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. I see Renee Name is in the house. It says Bridge the Divide. Hey, man. Good to see you, Renee. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. And I see, make sure I got everybody else. Some recommendations. Gutsick Gibbon. I definitely want to talk to Erica eventually. And of course, a bunch of people that I'd love to talk about that are in this community. Hopefully, once my channel gets large enough, I'll be able to have people on regularly. So fantastic! I think I got everybody. New. Okay,
so you're over there looking just like a fucking 1980s music rock, like a rock music video. You got the hair blowing in the wind and shit. All you need are
absolutely
two
my new
girls. If you had two half,
it's my new image.
You'd be great. That'd be perfect, right? Fucking like dancing and shit. You'd be that right there.
If you could get like a light, just like a kind of like a bluish white light flash, which was like lightning in the background, like that.
Yeah,
that would be solid.
Cool.
Oh, thank you so much. A $5 super chat, $5 freedom dollars from some old dude says you can publish via Amazon. I have a book of poetry done that way. They help with promotion too. I have thought about that, but I also have a friend who does fantasy work, who does fantasy books, a la D&D and stuff like that. And she was going through Amazon at first and didn't have some positive things to say about that process. So I may have to look into it, but I just going by what she did, They're like, Skooma Cat, I see you as well. Says, notice me, JL. I do notice you. Skooma Cat, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. And just to let everybody know, we are three. I am three channel members away from unveiling the Greg Locke emoji.
Greg Locke.
I made it after the book burning incident. I made a special Greg Locke emoji that I showed to Johnny. Johnny's seen it.
Yep.
That I think it may get me in trouble. I don't know. I don't care because it has to be made, and I cannot wait to unveil it to everybody. Because the minute we get it, I'm going to drop it and make it available for all the channel members. So I'm looking forward to that moment. Tones Overthinks It is in the house. Says, hello, everybody. Hope I'm not too late. No, you're not. Johnny just arrived. And I've been having a fantastic conversation with Steaming Cup of Reason about his series, Pain of Progress. And, of course, McKinnon Mitchell on his docuseries, The Weakness of Kent Hovind. I will drop those links in the description as soon as I can, just so everybody can access those there. So Johnny is here.
I am.
And you popped in, and obviously we can talk about what you had going on your side, and you didn't tell me that you were going to do it tonight. But we'll address that in a moment. I
specifically told you I was going to do it tonight.
You did not. I see no message where you said that.
So we spoke about it. We had a very intimate conversation about it.
Intimate conversation.
I
anyway, but let's get to something. But you're here, and obviously we can address this another time. But I wanted you here because everyone was like, People were like, what's going on? Is it like a team and FTFE thing, man? I was like, no, it's not. No. It's not a breakup. Johnny and I are not breaking up. Wait, are we together? McKinnon, I apologize, McKinnon. Yeah, it's kind of the way it is. But now that you're here, let's look at something funny. So I'm going to add it to the stream. Yeah, this is going to be good. I'm going to add it to this is a short, and you know his face. Unfortunately, he released this earlier today, and because I had my Matt Powell video drop earlier today, I wanted to hear this because this is Matt Powell talking about dinosaurs. So
are they inflatable?
Probably made of aluminum siding, like the ones that are out at Dinosaur Adventureland.
Yeah.
So let's take a look and see what he's got to say.
So many people today are of the opinion that dinosaurs lived 65 plus million years ago.
Okay, I'm going to break his fingers. If I ever meet this fucking asshole, I'm going to break these fingers. I'm breaking them off. So you can't do this. He's just probably like, oh, we'll do this now. So fucking hell, man. Everything, always. Jesus Christ.
So we are of the opinion that what's the Jack says, why is 65 in quotes? So yes, we are of the opinion that dinosaurs lived a really, really, really long time ago. It has nothing to do with,
Facts.
it has nothing to do with the facts of the situation, like, uranium-238 to lead-207 dating and zircon crystals and whatever like that. But let's see where he goes with this. Where the hell is he filming this?
Is that a McDonald's bag and a cup back there?
I think so.
Oh no, okay, no, I see. It's a cross. I'm tracking.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's in
But this is blatantly
the church.
In the church.
false misinformation. You see, we find biological evidence that dinosaurs lived recently. In fact, we find...
Oh God, it's a misrepresentation of Mary Schweitzer.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He said false misinformation.
Oh, double negative.
So it's just information?
It's just information.
16 types of bioorganic materials that would have degraded if deep time evolution were true.
Deep time evolution. I actually haven't heard. I mean, he's conflating two things there, isn't he?
That's a new one on me.
Deep time evolution. He's trying to sound smart. Now, here's where he's failing.
He's not.
Yeah, exactly. He's not smart. That's where he's failing. Guy's such a tool.
No. As I said in my video, tool implies there is at least one legitimate use for this person.
He makes me laugh.
That's right.
I can
He
laugh.
is a DVD rewinder, which is an object that was actually made.
Yeah.
You see, dinosaurs lived with man.
Oh, give me a break.
The Land of the Lost. This is the asshole that watched Land of the Lost. Like, hey, this is a documentary.
This is a deep time.
The Bible says, "Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee." Man and dinosaur coexisted together. And the reason that we know that is because...
Now, here's the thing. I generally don't like making fun of people's shortcomings.
But he makes it so easy.
He makes it so easy, number one. And number two, his lisp really just...
Mr. Emes is Matt Powell making shit up. Say it isn't so. Again.
Bioorganic evidence does not lie. We find collagen inside of dinosaur bones. We find blood vessels, blood cells, hemoglobin still in the blood cells. We find FEX proteins, histones. We find...
What about Hearthstone?
They were biological. Of course they have the same things in our bodies as we do. You idiot.
Do we find Hearthstones or...
skin pigments? I mean, look, these things would have biodegraded over the deep time of millions of years if evolution were even true.
Deep time.
But that's why evolution is not true, it is false. Creationism and creation science is what has made testable predictions. And we would be able to predict.
Creation science, the ultimate oxymoron.
Oh, really quick. Some old dude for $2 freedom says he is perfectly fine as worm food eventually. That's true. He will eventually serve a purpose when his elements are reconstituted into the universe.
Do we
McKinnon, you're being really quiet over there.
Well, I don't know. I don't know jack shit about evolution, about science. That's not my field. But so I'm just sitting here. I was listening to you guys. I will defer to your expertise because he could say something to me, and I'm like, cool.
Okay.
I got no way to tell you no.
Bullshitter, though. I mean, this guy he's like, the reason why he's so stiff, right? It's because he's got Kent Hovind's hand up his ass working his mouth.
Aaron Reed says that cowlick is fucking killing me.
Everybody, where's Darla?
Unbelievable.
If dinosaurs lived recently, we would still find organic materials inside of the bones. And in fact, when Mary Schweitzer had made the
I fucking knew it.
Yeah, you called it. You called it. You called it.
I fucking called it. I debated a dude who his name is Eric Jewell, who goes about like hot topics and debates like this, or hot topics and discussions. And he's, I think, I think the best comment about him was that he has 3 subscribers: him, himself, and his sister wife. And Eric Jewell did the exact same thing, but his argument pretty much went down like this. Mary Schweitzer was a young Earth creationist. Mary Schweitzer was in college and decided as a young Earth creationist to audit Jack Horner's class. So she sat in, she was like, "Hey, I'm a young Earth creationist. Can I audit your class?" Jack Horner, if you don't know that name, is like one of the legendary names in paleontology. And she was like, "Sure, absolutely, come in and audit the class." She audits the class within the process of, or at the time of one course. She deconverted from young Earth creationism and dove headlong into paleontology. So this is what I want to do. So she goes in full bore, becomes one of the leading paleontologist under time, studies under Jack Horner directly, and then it was she who discovered a new kind of fossilization process is essentially what it is. And what she was looking to is cutting through a Tyrannosaurus Rex bone and saw what she didn't. She was like, "This can't be." What she was seeing was the fossilized remnants of proteins that were of collagen, and it hadn't been seen before. And she saw this and was like, "What the heck? This can't be what it is." "Hey, Jack, come over here and look at this." Jack Horner looks in the microscope and says, "Huh?" And she's like, what does that look like?" And he says, "Well, that looks like blood. It looks like, like old preserved, actually proteins. It was collagen." And she says, "That looks like that." She's like, "That's not possible. Like that couldn't be possible." And then Jack's response to that was, "Tell me why it's not possible." And that's what led the investigation to go into how this could potentially be. And essentially it was dinosaur bones have a number of ways of fossilizing. And what she had discovered was that because of the iron-rich content of dinosaur blood, just because of the environment that they lived in and just the atmosphere itself, what they fed on, because their blood was iron rich, then those minerals can aid in the fossilization process in particular circumstances. So in essence, think of the bone as a
whoa there, JL. Watch your
sorry.
motions.
Think of the bone itself as a sarcophagus. And if the outside mineralizes fast enough, given particular circumstances, as long as it doesn't break, as long as there's not too much pressure, if it fossilizes correctly, then the iron inside will help to preserve the material that normally bacteria would get to and eat. So this stuff literally gets locked inside the bone and then fossilizes it under its own conditions, which results in us seeing the fossilized remnants of particular proteins that are left behind in the sarcophagus-like bone. And so it was something new that she came across. It was like, holy crap. She never once stated that what she was working on was a T-Rex that was 20,000 or 10,000 years old. She has always stated this was a 65 million year old Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil.
So it sounds to me like Mary says creationism is real.
So what Mary stated is that what she came across was a unique find. Now they know what they're looking for, and they have found more now that the process is recognized, now that we see it. And maintaining fossils is the technology has gotten better so they don't become infected with carbon-14, and then they lose stuff that they normally would, that they need. So the techniques have gotten better. Mary Schweitzer was instrumental in that coming to basically, entering into paleontology as a process. And what Eric Jewell will do is say that Mary was correct in what she found, her conclusions, what was going on like this. Well, then why didn't she say? And then people ask, well, but she never says it was like a young Tyrannosaurus. She says it was 65 million years old. Well, she lied there.
Yeah.
So his argument is that she's lying, or she's telling the truth when it helps him, and lying when it does service, because she was forced to lie because academia will not allow her to say the truth. Right. So, and I knew at the minute he's like that, this entire misrepresentation of Mary Schweitzer's work, she herself, just like the guys who came up with punctuated equilibrium, two other scientists, Gould and I can't remember the other guy's name. Those guys are constantly telling young Earth creationists, stop using our work, because punctuated equilibrium and gradualism can go hand in hand. They're not mutually exclusive. And they keep trying to, Mary Schweitzer's done the same thing. Stop misrepresenting the science, because that's what they're doing and making Christianity look bad, because she's still a Christian herself. So, yeah.
Discovery of the T-Rex bones in the Hell Creek Formation, the people there reported the stench of death at the Hell Creek Formation.
Oh, the stench of death.
If evolution were true, and if these creatures did live millions of years ago, these bioorganic materials would not even exist. In fact,
I just can't deal with his stupid face.
Well, he's ready for it. He's ready for Kent.
Yeah, yeah. Jesus Christ.
the bones would have been completely deteriorated. The skin pigments and collagen inside would have been non-existent by now, yet it's still there, which proves that they lived recently.
Okay, so here's the thing. How recently are they talking about, right? They're talking about 6,000 years. Ooh,
so Kent is a young Earth. He's 6,000 years old.
Kent is 6,000 years old?
Yeah, he does the whole, like, the Bible is 100% accurate, completely infallible, and inerrant. So
no, I got it. I've dealt with dishonest fuckstick many times.
I was telling McKinnon about the joint kind of work that we were doing regarding the financial aspects.
Yeah. If you want to see that investigation, it's on the old Plottle channel.
Yep.
That guy's a fucking.
It's funny, the person that I mentioned about that pushed the part 3 back, his thing that he wants to talk about is actually he's still a creationist, still Christian and everything. He actually likes everything Kent says, but he's like the financial stuff behind Dinosaur Adventureland. He's like, I couldn't be near that anymore because of everything he's doing. I wish I could say who he is. I wish I could talk about it. I'm actually considering not putting it in the docuseries because I can't verify anything. So all I could do is just give my word that I've vetted this and that it's true. And so I'm like, if that's how I have to present it, I just might not do it. I don't know. So
if you want to get together and compare notes, I've got JL and I both have some extensive notes on the financials of all that shit. Okay. Be more than happy.
I might defer him to you, because that might be something you guys might want to talk about since you're already doing that. So that might be beneficial for you guys.
I mean, yeah, if you push them our way, absolutely. I would love to talk to them. Like I said, I started out looking at the sexual predator business that was going on over there with Chris Jones and what's the other fool's name? Brady Byron.
Yeah, this part 3 is going to be touching on that.
Yeah.
And I was jumping in, and he made brief, and McKinnon made brief mention of Ernie Land in that first episode when you were touching kind of like the faces that are there, and I dove into him, and it's just shit. I mean, come on, that's a shyster roll. I mean, it's kind of a bad
everything
word.
Smells.
Yes, it stinks.
Yeah, smells.
It's funny how between Kent and Matt Powell, everyone's apparently lying except them. Whether it's creationist claims or legal claims, or everyone else is lying. Everyone.
It's kind of like Darth Dawkins. I don't know if that name says anything to you. But, oh yeah, it's kind of like Darth Dawkins. Everyone he talks to is a troll. Everyone he talks to is a stalker. Everyone he talks to is out to get him. Everyone he talks to is lying.
A fake, a phony, and a fraud.
A fake, phony, and a fraud. Yep. And this is what they do. So everyone. So the point is, Darth, if you ever happen to see this, if everyone you engage with is an asshole, every person you talk to is an asshole, it might be you, sir.
You're the asshole.
The common denominator is you.
I freely admit I'm an asshole too. Okay, but I own that shit. Okay?
At least embrace it. At least just,
I wear it like a fucking badge.
Oh man. Oh, just the Mr. E-Man says if they stopped misrepresenting the truth, then they would have nothing left to do and their worldview would fall apart. You see, and this is what's wild. This is what gets me. And something that I bring up a lot is that evolution and God are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
Johnny's brought it up a number of times as well.
Yep.
These are not mutually exclusive concepts. Like I said in the previous video, God could exist and human beings just humaned up the Bible. We're storytelling chimpanzees is essentially what we are. And we could have just humaned up the Bible. God could still technically be there. God and abiogenesis are not mutually exclusive concepts. The Bible is the problem. So I don't know why they have to. I mean, I could hazard, my background, my educational background is in psychology, is in forensic psychology. So I can hazard all day long as to why they desperately need, on a personal level, to hold on to this narrative. But, it's becoming fringe. That's one thing I think we can be grateful for. This kind of Christian mentality is becoming the fringe. The vast majority of Christians, they understand science. They do the work. They realize there's some things in the Bible that are that's not scientific, that could not possibly have taken place. Some of the stuff was taken from old mythology, from Sumerian and Babylonian mythology. So you don't give it much credence. Overall, they pretty much side with the message. Slowly but surely moving toward deism, as we've seen.
Yeah, it's absolutely becoming fringe. And Ken always tries to act like he has this massive outreach because he has 194,000 subscribers. He has a 6% viewership rating, though. Like, his actual audience size is his new second channel at Dinosaur Adventureland. That's what his actual size audience is. Yeah. Whether he got that 194,000, because the first few videos are just re-uploads of his content, of his creation stuff while he was in prison. So somebody else must have done that. And he probably gained those subscribers during that time. But the size of his audience now, it's 5,000 subscribers or so. He does not have like the relevance that he tries to claim. Every time any of this makes a video about him in one of his latest episodes, like, oh, you're just trying to be me. You're envious of my popularity. I'm like, I've done the math, dude. Yeah. You don't have an audience. I have a fifth the size of your audience in 13 days. Like, do not sit here and act like you're some big shot anymore.
What was it he said? Is that they're afraid of me and they want to be me.
Yeah.
And I think Creaky Blinder's response is that I want to be you, like I want to cover my hands in shit and clap. Johnny's like, yeah, that's pretty good.
All right. Yeah. I mean, we all have our fantasies, right? So let's let Kent have it.
Oh, let me see here. What was someone said? Somebody said something funny as hell. Ugly Jerk, he wants to really feel Jesus in him, going by that O face.
O face.
Feel Jesus in you. Aaron Reese has a good question. Why haven't any archaeologists found a single dinosaur saddle?
Yeah, because I'm sorry, but if I live with a fucking T-Rex, you goddamn Skippy, I'm going to try and fucking ride one.
I'm at least riding a Pachycephalosaur. I mean, straight up. I love Packies.
Something. I'm fucking riding a goddamn dinosaur, okay?
Yeah, Mr. Emez says, if humans were around with dinosaurs, then humans would be as extinct as dinosaurs. This is very, very true.
Something about the food chain.
Tones over things. It says, Bridge the Divide, you and Johnny O should get together to compare the size of your notes.
6 inches. Thick. I mean, that's how thick our notes are.
I came on here for a professional conversation with colleagues, and this is what I get.
Yeah. Look, we can be professional outside of this square thing that's going on right here, but inside of the square, all bets are off.
What happens in the squares stays in the square.
No, what happens in the squares is for everybody to witness.
This is true.
What happens in the squares stays in the squares. on a public live stream.
Well, it does. I mean, the internet is forever. So Aaron Reese says Dal is on the compound that looks like a place where the mob would dump bodies.
It was an old rock quarry. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't found bodies out there.
Jack Bird says, I smell dog shit every room I walk into. Not going to check my shoes, though.
Could be. No.
And Gosh of Heckfire says, all my girlfriends have been crazy.
Well, on that end, I mean, we could probably look at the odd end that you're right.
Mr. E-Man says 33 likes and 33 watching. Illuminati confirmed.
That's a real thing. I love how everything is always the Illuminati, because the Illuminati is so great at being this clandestine organization that everybody fucking knows about them.
Right. That's a big thing that I found when looking into the new IFB is that they're really big on NWO theories, on their whole like New World Order shit, and it gets really, really super cringy. Just the leaps they make is just ridiculous. Especially soft sit Steven Anderson. That dude is such a sovereign citizen. Just ridiculous.
I've got a soft sit video coming out sometime soon, within the next few days. It'll take the piss.
Really?
Yep.
And I wish I had heard that the FBI had pretty much declared sovereign citizens as a domestic terrorist organization.
Yes, they have.
Kent Hovind is a sovereign citizen.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
he has not come out and said, "Hey, I sovereignty of this, that, and the other, blah 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 blah." But his tax argument was heavily based in the sovereign citizen arguments or misinterpretation of law. Absolutely.
Right. And McKinnon goes into extreme detail on where all that comes from, the mentality behind it, where Kent got his information in this series. There's 2 episodes up, Johnny. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, you will love this stuff. I mean, like I said,
somebody sent it to me the other day. I haven't been able to. Work has been stupid, but I have seen that these episodes are out. I need to watch them. They're on my watch list. So
Gina S says, I want to play Quidditch riding a pterodactyl. Damn it!
Yeah, right.
That would be badass.
All right, so this is awesome, and of course I'm going to keep going, but it's giving every opportunity. McKinnon, this is fantastic. I know you had to push episode 3 back a week. Is there an estimated date as to when that might come out, or people should just hit that bell and?
So right now I'm actually working on it tonight. I normally don't work on projects. I only work on them on Saturday nights. The rest of it, I got work throughout the week, and then the rest of it, I'm spending time with my family. I'm not going to be like my dad and just sit in my chair all the time doing whatever the hell he was doing. But so Saturday nights usually it, but tonight, since I had to interview on Raw, and then I was going to interview that guy who was again had that information, but I don't feel confident about including it. I feel like it would just damage the integrity if I'm just saying, I swear it's true, that this wouldn't feel right to do. And again, that's really out of fairness to Kent. I don't want to put this information out there, and I can't even say it's true. I can't claim that it's valid because I can't identify him, and that would just feel unfair to Kent, even though he doesn't deserve that grace or whatever. But still, so if I'm not including that, then I'm working on it tonight. Probably gonna do a bunch of recording and then editing, and so we'll see how far I get. So it might be one more Saturday. Next Saturday, I might be able to finish it up.
And that's what I really, really dig. And not to mention, I mean, given Kent and the things you're going to be talking about, protecting people's identities who speak is paramount, because I don't think it's beyond him. Reprisals are not a thing that is beyond him, or at least getting one of his henchmen to go and do something untoward. I don't think he's above that, given some things I've heard. So I can't wait for the rest of it to come out. I think it's going to be awesome. So, but definitely, I have another video that I want to take a look at, and I'm going to be reviewing this. It is from J. Robin. We take a look at that, but I don't want to hold anybody up because I know it is almost 11 o'clock where I'm at, and because I don't have anywhere I need to be tomorrow, because me.
Because I don't have the workers that have been living.
This is my job, man. This is my job.
Good job, Tommy.
I don't have anything better to be working on, so I mean, I can stay.
Awesome, fantastic. Yeah, I just want to give anybody a chance that if you do need to duck out or if you have things you got to work on, I don't want to hold anybody longer or anybody feel like they have the obligation to stay. So, but this should be fun. So I'm going to take a look at this J. Robin video here. Just a moment. I wonder what's up.
Shit too.
Do what?
I'm going to take this moment to quickly grab a fresh coffee. So I'll be right back, guys.
Definitely. As a matter of fact, you know what? I think because I myself, my juice is gone and I could use another drink as well. So before we dive into this one, let me do this. If you need to grab it, so we're going to take a moment. If you need to grab a drink, refresh your drink, grab a snack, grab a smoke, do whatever. I'm going to go and grab a fresh drink because I'm currently out. And also I'm going to say hello to my wife and kiss her and let her know I love her and I haven't vanished back here. Do the same thing herself. Plus she's dealing with a new.
She wants you to vanish. She's like,
we have a new puppy. So I don't think she wants that. This cat is all over the place. So we'll be right back.
Is it a cat or is it a dog?
It's a dog.
Okay. So you forgot how that worked.
This is what I deal with on a weekly basis because Johnny O is one of my co-hosts over at the Week in Horror. So
yeah. That's why people keep coming to watch the show to find out what zany things Johnny O is going to say.
This is true. This is very, very true. All right, let me pop over here and grab this, and
I'm going to go get some tea. So
definitely. And we'll be right back. Oh, everybody's gone. So I will entertain while we wait for everybody to get back. I know people were grabbing drinks and stuff. I'll grab myself a Diet Coke. And let's see what's going on in the chat while we wait for everybody. Aaron Ray says, stop leaving me out. Not leaving you out, bud. Never leave you out. That's why I made you part of Week in Horror. Let me see. Hey, he's back. Let's see. Ugly German Truth says, no, it does not mean. Oh, they're talking about delete laws. Oh, delete laws. That goofball.
Oh yeah. that guy seems to me like all he wants is a constitution where all he has to do is say, nah, I don't like your rules, go away, and get scot-free.
Pretty much. He just wants the Constitution to tell him that he can live his life the way on his terms, the way he wants to live it, which obviously doesn't work. I challenged him because he's all like, calling people betas and saying like, I'm so alpha and you can't take me and I would put you on the mat and I'd hold you down, couldn't do anything. So I was like, okay, I'll take your challenge and I'll meet you on the mat. We'll do it for charity. It'll be an exhibition match and I'll raise money for the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund and you can raise it for whatever. And we'll see what happens. We'll live stream the whole thing. And I put that out, that challenge to him. I seriously doubt he'll pick it up.
Oh,
So
he hasn't got the cojones.
Nah. I think his response was that the reason he does that is because he follows the teachings of Sun Tzu, in that present yourself larger than your enemy. And I was going to like, if you actually read Art of War, you'd know that that's not what Sun Tzu would teach. He would say, know your enemy. And on the internet, you don't know your enemy. So he's just dumb. He's just like, this sounds smart, so I'll use this. All right. Gina says, I'm drinking Cuba Libres and fantasizing about beach life. Don't you judge, and please play some reggae.
Hey, man, come see me here in Vietnam. I got beaches everywhere, man. It's my daily life.
I know that Johnny's going to be back here in just a moment. What was his tone says? By the way, if Delete Law says he's an alpha and that I'm a beta, wouldn't that mean I'm more complete than he is and he's just a barely functional build? Very true. Very
If
true.
you ever want to see like a funny video done by Matt Powell, it's actually like it might be his first video on YouTube. It's one of the first. He does like this Mountain Dew commercial, and like after about 20 seconds in, I don't know what the hell is happening throughout any of it. So it looks like he started out like, I'm gonna be a filmmaker. I mean, I think it's supposed to be funny, but it's not, and I don't know what's happening. It's like these Vietnam flashbacks and shit, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, I absolutely love cringe shit like that. I wonder if I've got, let me see here. Oh, I think I got rid of it. Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, I just saw Johnny.
Oh, there he is. He's coming back in.
Yeah.
Did I get rid of it? I gotta see if I got rid of it.
His finger made the grand entrance before him.
Oh man, I think I may have to re-download. No, I didn't. Johnny, okay, I don't know if McKinnon's aware. Before we dive into the J. Robin thing, you've seen Rapping for Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Just because I showed it to Johnny the other day, and he was at one of the live streams, and he was just like,
it wasn't. I mean, I had seen it before, but not the entire thing.
It is the ultimate existential definition of cringe.
oh, brilliant, so brilliant. Okay, so here we go. For those who are not familiar in the live chat, who we're about to talk about or who I'm about to review, this guy goes by the name of J. Robin. He used to be really, really big in Discord, and he kind of like, when the whole debacle with Darth Dawkins went down, he followed Darth over to an app called Clubhouse. And this video was put out today by Clubhouse Debates, which is a YouTube channel. And essentially, this is J. Robin doing his J. Robin thing. He is a Darth Dawkins acolyte. But he's definitely the great value version of Darth Dawkins. Just as bad, but less flavor.
He's a Dr. Thunder version.
The Dr. Thunder.
Cola. And it says cola, okay?
He's like one of those ones you find in the back, just pop. Is all it just.
Right. The movie prop. Yeah. Beer.
All right. So let me get this sorted out real quick. There we are. Okay. So here we go. J. Robin doing his thing. This is, and the red Robin thing is his logo, and it's hilarious. I mean, I don't the rainbow there behind it. I don't know. I can't remember if that's his or I think that is. But
that's so funny if that is his.
I know, right? Because he's how deeply homophobic he is.
Yes.
So let's see what he has to say.
Because God is revelatory. He's always truth revealing. Okay, and he's secured the fact that we can know things to be the case. Because God's revealed it to be the case. God's the basis of my epistemology.
What happened?
Oh, yeah. I would have to allow Jay to speak for himself as to the reasons he does.
Right, and I'm just going to real quick before, and then I'll turn it over to Jay. Is that Jeff? I disagree with your thesis there. I think J. Robin is a carbon copy of Darth, but
I did. Jay Robin is a carbon copy, but he's the one. He's like 4 sheets down.
I was gonna say, you know how they have like they have those 4, like you have your original, then you have the yellow one, then you have the pink one, and then you have the one on the bottom.
Yes,
he's the one on the bottom.
And the big thing on this one. So Jack Burton says that's just CHD's J Robin intro. Okay, so they just tacked that on there, which I think is hilarious. It's awesome. Charlie Welch, cheese product Dawkins. So the big thing on this one, essentially, J Robin is a presuppositional apologist, and essentially, yes, his position is begging the question. He assumes that God is true. God is true is revealed through the Bible. The Bible is true because God revealed it. And he uses God, and the way he defines God is basically the metaphysical ontology of everything is grounded in God. God is the necessary metaphysical ontology of all things, and therefore all epistemology is grounded in God. Without this grounding, you can have no epistemology, you can have no intelligibility, nothing makes sense, it's all incoherent, and you can't account for things like the uniformity of nature or what I call the local uniformity of nature. And nothing is consistent. There is no rhyme, reason to anything without this grounding and without this grounding is where J. Robin is coming from.
So he's side 10 again.
Yeah, in a sense.
Go ahead, Jay. The floor is yours.
Morning.
Jay, we can't hear you.
That's because Jay is muted.
I had asked same kind of question I had asked you, Jay, but what keeps you pressed on this? And we were just talking about that.
Who's brushing their teeth? What the fuck is happening right now?
All right, can you hear me?
No idea, man.
Yes.
Yeah, much better.
All right.
Jack Burton likes to say, remember, it's Gay Throbbin, not J. Robin. He's the one who put the option of misnaming, misgendering, and personally attacking people on the table. We should rise to his standard.
Jeez. Yeah, this guy, you want to be a Darth Dawkins ball washer, be a Darth Dawkins ball washer, but don't be a bastard about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a question or something that somebody was asking me?
God exists because no, let's not go there. So Jay, the question is curious as to what keeps you specifically, and we were talking about Darth, and he's not here, and so but for you specifically, what keeps you pressed in wanting to continue to do the precept thing and go into these rooms and sometimes perhaps get a little what's the word? You're not charitable, perhaps. You're sometimes do come across as a little rude and just curious as to what drives that.
Okay, so I'm very curious as to what J. Robin is going to say here, and I have an idea of what he might say. But ultimately, it has to be said about like McKinnon. I don't know how much you know about presuppositional apologetics and the intention of it. Its roots in Van Til and basically Dutch Reformation. But the big thing on it is that apologetics is, my takeaway is the apologetics is not intended to convert people. It is intended to keep people from leaving. Is the whole point of going into apologetics, to give them reasons to not leave the faith. So, but yet this guy is right. J. Robin is wholly uncharitable. And we'll see what happens in this because
he's a fucking asshole.
We're doing what 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, which is that we're destroying speculation, putting every thought into captivity that raises itself against Jesus Christ. I'm paraphrasing, but that's just the essence of what it says. Yeah, we're bringing glory to God through that. Of course, if atheists are as rational as they say they are, they would come to submission to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So
you will submit. Tap out, motherfucker.
Jesus got you in an arm bar.
The to go.
So let me ask you a question, Jay. When you call people by the wrong names, like you purposely misgender or transgender a person, do you think that's kind or being Christ-like, or is helping to bring people into the kingdom?
I'm not going to placate to people who have a thinking that is not aligned with what God says about the nature of human beings. So if they consider that rude or offensive, well, there are plenty of things that are rude and offensive to people that people consider rude and offensive. That's their prerogative to feel that way, but that doesn't mean I have to cater to them.
So
So
you
if a
won't ever
person,
you won't ever
being
use quote unquote female names. It's
what do you
just a
say?
name. Well, it's just a name change, right? Like if I decided
Yeah,
to
but
call myself,
it
no, but why are you
represents
interrupting me? Why are you interrupting me?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
If I decided to change my name and call it, Leslie or Charlie or one of many names, you'd be like, I'm not calling you that. You're a girl. You need to have a girl's name. I mean, it's a little bit what's the word? We're on an app where most people aren't even using their real names.
childish.
Is your name Robin? Probably not, right?
No,
So what
but
wouldn't it be
yeah,
the
look.
polite thing to do
Mhm.
to just call people by their names they have on their little icon, and like all these people have little names. Why not just use that?
Yeah, because I'm not going to pretend like you obviously understand what's going on, right? It's not a mere issue of me having J. Robin as my name on Cliff House. I don't need to explain to you. I don't think I need to explain to you because I think you're smarter than that. Okay, you understand.
Okay.
See, condescension. That bullshit right
Yeah.
there.
Okay, it gets me every. I mean, it gets me every time. These bullshit psychological tactics. That it's like that people think that I don't know why more Christians. There are Christians in this room that are with him. They do not call him out for the shit that he is doing, and there is the disturbing amount or the disturbing lack of rebuking individuals who engage in tactics like this is disturbing to me.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, and more it needs to be pointed out in that respect. Yeah, just
And exactly what's going on, which is that the name that he put on there represents something other than than who he is with respect to how God made him as a man. Like this is
See, you
obvious.
keep saying, you keep
It's not an
saying
issue. It's
he.
not an
Wait a
issue.
minute.
It's not an issue.
Wait,
It's not an
wait, wait, wait,
issue.
wait, wait.
Can you let me
Hold
finish,
on, hold
please?
on. Yeah,
So
well,
you can finish,
but
I'm
shut
not
the fuck up for a second.
I didn't want to interrupt Haiti, which
Yeah,
is why I
let him
stopped talking.
finish. Let him
So let me
finish.
finish. Yeah. Um. So yeah, it's not an
That's a
issue. It's
guy
not
who
an issue of me
perpetually
having like an
interrupts
alias
people.
online. It's not even like a gender specific alias. It's just J. Robin, right? So I mean, but it's obvious that Brendan's name is representing the fact that he wants to change. He wants to represent himself as a female when it's not the case that he's a female.
Okay,
I mean,
but
this is
here's the thing,
obvious.
real
they're referring to an individual who goes by Brenda, who is well known on Discord, and so I didn't know who the subject of the topic was, but Brenda has been misgendered by Darth, has been misgendered by J. Robin in the past, and they've continued to do this, and they do it. They make a point. This is what's fucked up: is they make a point of doing it whenever Brenda is around, and they will go out of their way to poke that bear, even when it's not related to whatever they're doing. So if she's in firing distance, they'll go after her specifically. So
Because they're giant pieces of shit, JL.
because they're giant pieces of shit, John.
quick, what I was trying to
Let
say
him
is like,
finish.
why not have
Why let him
respect? Well,
finish?
why I
I'm
understand that,
done.
but
I'm done.
he's talking about a completely different issue than what you're calling him out on. It's just a matter of respect. We're not talking about what your beliefs are as far as what people are born as. It's why not have enough respect for your fellow human beings to adhere to their wishes. I mean, it doesn't do anything to you to call somebody by the name they want to be called by.
I would agree with that, and I'm an atheist, but I'm a former Christian. I deconverted from Methodism many years ago, but I would agree with that. That seems to be one of the tenets that people were trying to get across to me when I was younger. I would assume all of y'all would agree with that.
Yeah, man. But all
No,
you
I
gotta do is
refuse to
back them
call.
into
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, all you got to do is just back him into whether or not, is it going to harm you, like you mentioned? What harm is it going to bring to you? If it doesn't bring you any harm, and you can't bring about any reason that calling them by the name that they prefer, the pronouns they prefer, if you have nothing apart from that's just not what I think they really are, or whatever that case is, you're just a dick. Like, that's all I'm seeing here. I'm like, this person is just, you don't like that they're, transgender, or you don't like the, whatever pronoun they want to use. And even despite that, you have no rational reason not to do it because it doesn't affect you in a negative way whatsoever.
Right.
You're just an asshole.
See, you're getting in there. You're mixing it up. You're calling the assholes out. It's good.
Well, the evolution one, like with Matt Powell, I don't know jack shit about that. This, I can do this all day long.
Well, no, but the idea is you're getting in there and you're calling assholes out for being assholes. So,
yeah,
winning.
Well, no.
I was just wondering if I could ask something.
It is an issue of.
Quick.
Yeah, it's an issue Okay, go ahead.
So if somebody that you know, if like a friend or a family member or like a work colleague or something like that, if they get married, do you refuse to call them by their maiden name because they used to be?
This is not an issue of maiden names. Can you please like? I'm sure you have a little bit more focus on the issue than this is not about an issue of maiden names. Can you just stop?
Okay, so what?
Like
what
are we just playing this like charade game?
No.
Like it's not about maiden
You're
names.
trying to make a point that you don't.
This is not a good point. It's not a good analogy. It's not a good point.
No,
it's not a good point. Can you stop pretending like don't pretend like you have a point?
Jay Robin, you're trying to make a point, right?
Yeah, but it's not. It has nothing to do with maiden names. Like it's obvious it has nothing to do with maiden names. This is like obvious to anyone who has 2 brain cells.
Yeah, I get it. The point you were making when you refuse to use a name that's their given name on this app is that you don't think men should be transgender, change into women, and then change the name. You don't like it, so you're not going to go along with it.
I never even mentioned names. Like I never even brought up the word name. The only thing. Yeah, listen, I call him Brendan because the name that he has there represents a female persona when it's not a female person.
And I just
okay, but like it's the point. That's the only issue. It's not about a name. Like the issue isn't about names in and of themselves.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
It is about the name, Jay.
No, not really. No, it's not. The fact. No. Listen. The fact. Like the name is a relevant issue, but it's not about names. No, the fact is that he's representing himself as a female. That's the issue. So the representation in this case comes as a form of a name, but I would represent him as a male. Either way, like it's just the fact that I'm representing him in a male fashion through the name, but it's a representation of himself. This is obvious. Like if you're just focusing on on the issue and you understand like what I'm doing,
I understand
and like
what
just
you're
the
doing.
issue and like okay, if
Everybody
you understand,
understands what he's doing. He's being a fucking misogynistic asshole.
Yeah.
Ain't no hate like Christian love.
Someone said that Johnny O turned me to the dark side, so
Yes. There we go. I can actually do that same thing.
I do the same thing with my big old Jason in the background.
Oh, I can do that too. Yeah. Hang on a sec. There we go.
That's better.
No, they're trying to define where his line is on which I hate when people cannot understand. Like if they start to like bring it to a different topic, or you're cool, you want to change it here. What about in this situation, this situation, this situation? They're trying to define where that line is, where he's cool with addressing somebody. And I hate when people are like, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. Yet we're trying to like flesh out your position. I can't stand when people do that, where they just like they refuse, like, no, that has nothing to do with it. It does though. We're trying. I can't stand people who won't flesh out their positions, who don't entertain that.
Well, because it pigeonholes them into the spots they don't want to have to defend.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to go into a smaller and smaller box. That's their issue.
And I would say, given Jay Robin and given Jay Robin's past experiences, both on Clubhouse and in Discord, and how many the number of people he's gone up against, that he, just like Darth, has conditioned himself to believe that every line of inquiry is a trap. That everything is designed to make him look bad and eventually, expose him in some particularly negative light that could ruin his reputation or do whatever. So he's constantly on the defensive, even when someone is just trying to get a clarification.
Yep.
Which is, I think, and Jefferson Spatchcock talks a great deal about J. Robin being allergic to clarification. And I think it's that persecution complex that he has fostered so diligently that's resulted in him thinking that everyone around him, unless like they meet his certain standards or certain qualifications, everyone around him is an enemy. They're all looking to make you trip up. They're all looking to catch you at your worst. And they're all looking for that opportunity. So you never defend yourself, always attack.
Yeah, I'm disillusioned by debates, at least online debates, pretty much almost entirely, because I see that not just with religious things, but anything. People are just looking to attack. They're not looking to actually. Like I said, I would prefer more discussions to happen, because I won't do debates nowadays anyway because of that reason. Like, the person I'm going to be debating with most likely has no interest in both of us sharing ideas and trying to see which one has, valid points, what we can do to improve each other's points. And so everything now is just attack. It's attack. It's attack. It's attack. I don't waste I cannot really stomach a lot of debates nowadays.
So you spend a lot of time on MDD, I'm assuming.
I watch a shit ton of debates. I still watch them, and I don't know why I do it. I guess I'm a masochist, but because I don't know. I'm hoping someone's going to be out there that's like really, trying to like flesh out things and work to find, what's real, instead of just, I have a position and I'm going to try to make sure I can do everything I can to make it true. That shouldn't be the point, and I'm just, like I said, I'm disillusioned.
Gotcha.
The problem with most debates nowadays is that people get into debates thinking that, like, if you and I, McKinnon, were in a debate, our mentality, according to this new wave, is I have to prove to you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's not what a debate is. A debate, fuck all. I don't give a shit. You're not an opponent. You may be on the opposite end of whatever it is we're talking about. But my job is to convince the audience, not you. I don't give a fuck what you think. But no, everything now is like, oh, I'm a big dick in the room and you're wrong and you're stupid and I'm right and I'm smart. Fucking hate that shit.
Right.
What I'm doing, you shouldn't be like
No, I'm
names have
telling
nothing to do
you,
with
it's
it.
incredibly
Like, if you just focus,
hateful.
focus.
But I don't
Yeah, just
understand what you're
focus
doing.
on the issue, please, Haiti.
I
This is
have
not
done
about
nothing but focus
names.
on the issue.
Jay,
I
all right.
suggest to you that you call this person that you don't accept as a woman Brenda, not Brendan, because then you won't look like a fucking asshole. That's what I suggest.
Okay. Here, right on.
Haiti. Oh,
Haiti is my new hero.
Well, I'm going to continue to call him Brendan.
Even if secretly you think inside, this shouldn't be happening, I hate it, I don't agree with it, it goes against God, just call the person by the name they asked you to call them by. That's all I suggest to you. And that's why people are mad at you, if you were wondering.
Yeah, people can be mad at me. That's not any loss. I don't lose any sleep about it.
You're like a little baby, Jay.
So
okay. Enjoy people being mad at you, you piece of shit.
You like a little baby. It was even better with the accent.
That's fine. I'm going to continue to call him Brendan. And if you're sad about that, and if you're unhappy about that, that's unfortunate, really. But that's not something I lose any sleep about.
Care.
Obviously, it troubles you. It troubles you,
I just gave you some
and
advice.
that's unfortunate. And I hope it wouldn't trouble you, and I hope that you come to the knowledge of the truth.
I understand you don't care.
But Jay,
Christian worldview.
I understand.
But if that's not the case, I'm gonna still do what I do. And if that means that you don't want to associate with me or anything like that, that's fine.
But Jeff will continue to
that's
expect.
okay. That's okay. You came to me, I can come to you, Haiti. So that's okay. I don't need.
You still not answered the question though, Jay. You still not answered why you do.
Because he doesn't like trans people.
I already told you it's right.
I
told you I'm doing what's
he
right.
Thinks it's wrong. It's not hard to understand.
Jay, do you not recognize the distinction between the biological and the social contract when it comes to gender?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't subscribe to that whole scenario right there.
Okay. Johnny. So yeah,
I just
okay.
want to see this guy try this bullshit in real life, not on the internet, not with a screen and a keyboard to protect him. I want to see him actually trying this nonsense with real live human beings who can punch him in his stupid fucking mouth when he starts acting this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, come on. We don't advocate violence
I'm not.
on the
No,
channel.
no. I'm not.
No.
I'm
You didn't let me finish. We
advocating
don't
violence.
advocate. No, we didn't let me finish. We don't advocate violence unless it's for charity, because I will happily meet the sucker in an octagon to raise money for the Trevor Project in a heartbeat.
No, what you're saying is, I'm not advocating. I don't want anybody to go out and hurt somebody. I just know that if this jackass in mixed company tried the same bullshit that he does on these internet forums where he has protection, if you tried the same bullshit, the same methods in real life, somebody will kick his fucking teeth in.
I can say, given the ages of the people on this panel, the time that we grew up, and I would say that we all learned that lesson, is that one, we all learned those lessons. One, there's always a bigger fish. Two, as bad as you think you are, there is someone out there who is badder. My father grilled that into my head. It was one of the best lessons he ever taught me. And unfortunately, I have a bit of a hard head, so I had to learn it the hard way. But I did learn it, that there's a difference between being right and being dead right. And no matter how right you think you are, there are people out there who will not care. So yeah, I would hazard the anonymity of the internet is why people like this pull this off. He would never speak to someone like this in public, because you never know how someone's going to react, and it's always different when they're standing, face to face with you. Yeah. Comporting himself like this in public, it would never happen. He would never have the balls to do it, ever. Jack Burton says, we've been naming ships for centuries. Does gay Throbbing think ships have genitalia?
It's so fucked up, but funny.
Jack is brilliant.
I don't subscribe to this idea. No.
Here's my question.
It's obvious that he wants.
I don't subscribe to sociology or psychology or science of any way. I timed that well. Atheist Mando for $5 freedom dollars. Thank you so much. It says, as someone who is non-binary, I can be the voice in saying that this sort of shiz screws with you, and it gets to you no matter how tough.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why I did, as being a member of the LGBTQ community myself, being bisexual, I know I don't throw my hat in that ring a lot. And I feel at times that I should jump in, which is why I covered John MacArthur and John MacArthur's anti-trans hate speech, sermon that actually got yanked from YouTube for being identified as hate speech, and YouTube yanked it. Johnny helped me find that. I covered it and I broke it down and went through all the places that he's wrong, why he's wrong. Big thanks to Forrest Valkai for helping me, for his work, helping me to break that down and speaking about it coherently. On the trans issues, there's a lot of things that I'm still learning about that. I want to be able to speak about it correctly. But that's the big thing. When it comes to shit like this, as ugly as it is, it has to be called out publicly. It has to be called out loudly. Right. Because awareness of this is ultimately, given the vilification of trans individuals, given the violence that they face on a daily basis, calling this stuff out publicly is incredibly important, because that awareness may save a life. And absolutely. I know it's fucked up. It's 2022. You would think that we would be beyond this as a society, but not when it comes to trans individuals. Absolutely not. In some places, not even the color of your skin, but especially trans individuals. These individuals need that protection. They need our awareness, because when you call it out and everybody sees it for what it is, then we know to avoid it. And just censoring it is not enough, which is why I don't actually agree with what YouTube did when they just censored that video. I get why they did it. It's their private platform. They can do whatever the hell they want. I don't necessarily agree with it, because it must be seen for what it is. And people have to call it out, and people have to be like, this is what it is. Shut it down. Be aware of it so that we can help protect the people. until the laws come into place that can protect them as well.
Well, even still, even when the laws come into place, we saw this with the 1964 Civil Rights Act, when the laws come into place to protect marginalized groups, you still have to stand vigilant. You still have to stand up for this bullshit. You have to call it out for what it is and let people know that it's not okay. This type of rhetoric, this type of look, think whatever the fuck you want, say whatever the fuck you want, but you should get called out for it. This type of shit needs to be called out.
Well, the value of it, like I'm proof of that shit, because when I was younger, when I was raised in this very conservative, very hateful, very religious environment, when I was younger, was a bit of a bigoted piece of shit, but having that type of information out there, seeing those conversations happen, those things being brought to light, that's why I'm not that way anymore. If you just keep censoring it, it's just going to fester in those locations of the country.
Right. Yeah. So censor it. All you're doing is shoving it underneath, putting it under the rug. Sweeping the dirt under the rug doesn't get rid of the dirt. You can't see it until it's too late.
Right. So JT Davis, before we jump back into it and we continue on and see if actually J. Robin gets to something substantial here in a second, except justifying why he's an asshole, JT Davis 62 brings us something interesting. So I bring this, I'm addressing it this because Johnny lives in Texas. I used to live in Texas. I just recently did the math on it. And unfortunately, I can't make it back in time for the elections in November. While I've been here in Oklahoma for a year, my residency will be established. And unfortunately, I can't go back. I was thinking maybe I can get back in time. He's like, unfortunately, I can't. He says, guys, what can we do about the barbaric law that was recently passed in Texas? It's not really a law that was passed. It was a mandate that Abbott gave through to the Department of Family Services that essentially establishes gender-affirming therapy and gender-affirming practices as child abuse.
Yep.
So parents with trans kids who seek gender-affirming therapy and gender-affirming education like this can be cited for child abuse and have their kids taken away.
That's
and
just wrong on
he
every
says,
level.
Right. And his parents of trans teens are already being arrested. The only way that I can see that can be defeated, and the abortion ban that he put in, the bounty on abortions, the $10,000 bounty per abortion that he ended up turning into a civil issue so he could bypass the Supreme Court.
Shoving him off of a cliff.
He is just doing that meme and just rolling him off.
Give him the Virgil treatment.
The only way I can see that ending is getting that man out of office.
Well, hang on a second. That's dangerous, right? Because just saying getting him out of office is dangerous, because that's exactly what they said about Rick Perry. Just get him out of office. Well, we just got him out of office, and now we have this crippled fuck.
Well, I mean, Beto's running against him again, isn't he? Or is Beto running against him for governor?
Yeah, Beto's running against him for governor. But here's the problem that Beto has. He is way too left for the state of Texas.
He got close against Ted Cruz. It was neck and neck.
Yeah, but that was Ted Cruz, and that was a senator seat. We're talking about the entire state of Texas now, not just the district that he was representing.
Yeah.
Beto almost turned Texas purple, but it's going to be an extremely difficult thing to do, especially with all the gerrymandering that's gone on in the state.
Yeah.
And he's, like I said, he shot himself in the foot, pun intended, when he came out in a stance against firearms.
Yeah, that wasn't going to work well for him in Texas.
The only way I can see it, and if Beto is running against him, and as far as options go, to ensure that these kinds of things go no further, and you see immediate change, an immediate rollback of these draconian directives that are coming out of his office, because I know that all Abbott is doing is kowtowing to his base to ensure he's ensuring he gets reelected is what he's doing. He's speaking to the deeply religious, the deeply conservative heart of Texas, basically saying, this is what I'm doing. This is what I stand for. You need to vote for me, or else all of these things that protect you or whatever is going to go away. And if he's not removed from office, they're going to continue. They're going to get worse. Texas is going to become Gilead.
Yeah, man. I don't want to have to move.
And I'm bummed because I would have been happy to have cast my vote for Beto in the race against Abbott. It's coming up this November. My only recommendation is that if you are in Texas, if you live in Texas, vote that man out. Vote him out. Because it's the only way you're going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to convince the Texas Supreme Court to do anything. You're not going to be able to convince the legislation to do anything. You've got to cut the head off the snake. And the head of the snake is Greg Abbott. Get rid of him. Start rolling back this stuff. And the only way to do that is to vote him out of office. That's the surefire way of doing it. And I don't know if Beto will win. I don't know. But I do know that Greg Abbott has made an enemy out of every trans family and has made an enemy out of the LGBTQ community. And I have no doubt this is where my only kind of hope rests, is that there are more LGBTQ in Texas than they know, and that they will come out swinging when it comes to the polls. That's my only hope there.
To represent himself.
Huh? Oh, I don't want to make sure I didn't. Oh, okay.
Hey, Jay.
It's obvious that he wants to. I'm answering the question. Yeah, I'm answering the question. If you don't want me on the stage, you don't have to have me on the stage. I was invited here.
Yeah,
I don't need to be here. I don't need to be here.
Fine. But here's the thing. I just want to ask you one simple question. Do you think Jesus would act towards Brenda the way you do?
Yes.
Then you are a fucking idiot.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Aaron Reese, I don't advocate anything. I don't even know if I'm going to put it up so people can see it, but I'm not. I can't read that. You know, I can't read that.
That's not what we meant.
I mean, there's many ways to skin a cat.
Oh, now we're skinning him. Fucking hell.
Gar hanging from the yard arm.
According to you, so like there's, I mean, look, we're just talking very surface level, but I could get into like atheism and morality and everything like that.
Jack Burton, yes, we all remember the story of Jesus and the sinful woman when he told the crowd, "Let's get that bitch."
Get that bitch.
And like how you can ground that, which I mean, I don't have to get into that, but I mean, I can if that's really the issue here.
Yeah,
Like, on what basis are you even telling me? On what basis are you even telling me? Yeah, I'm not gonna get to. If you call me a different name, as long as it's not something obscene.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah, I could just tell it's because I could just tell for one, it's because you're just purposely trolling. You don't have. It's no. There's no principled objection you have to my name. It's obvious.
Yeah.
So you're just trolling at this point.
Anybody have Precept claims trolling on their Precept bingo card?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Isn't that the free space?
But I think it's the free space.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get all super offended like these people are here.
So you're saying if you have a principal objection to a person's name, that it's okay to call them by a different name.
No, I'm bringing up the fact that it's a necessary. I didn't say it was a sufficient condition, but it's a necessary condition. It's obvious here that J.K. doesn't have a principled objection to this. So I mean, it just disqualifies him automatically, just doing it for the sake of trolling it.
Jenny's just throwing a tantrum.
Right. So look. So
again,
that's all I have to say on that issue.
If you've got a principal objection, then you find it acceptable.
No, I didn't say that. I just explained to you. I said it was a necessary but not sufficient condition. Do you know what the difference between those two things are?
All I hear is you justifying being an asshole.
I think race up there has the most apropos PFP I've ever seen. I think it's absolutely perfect. It works.
Jesus face palming.
So yeah, obviously J. Robin on the wrong end of this, and weird because I think the vast majority of people in this room are Christians. This being his position on trans. I'm curious. I don't know if I haven't watched this before. I don't know if the whole thing is about his trans issues. I'm hoping he gets to one of his insane arguments. I guess we'll find out here shortly.
This is his insane argument.
No, this is one of his insane arguments. That's true.
Okay, so you don't know what it is. I can explain it to you. You don't have to do that childish thing you just did. Okay,
It's not a childish thing. I hear you being an asshole.
So I'll explain it to you since you don't know what it is. It's okay.
I didn't say I didn't know, but okay.
You don't know what it is. It's okay. I'm not making fun of you for it. You don't know what it is. I'll explain it to you. So
real quick, I gotta stop this. I fucking hate when these assholes do that shit. Yep. Oh, I'm not making fun of you. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're condescending. And it's go ahead, McKinnon.
Well, I mean, I hate bypass this shit. If he makes a claim, do you know what this is? I probably do, but I don't know. I'm not in your head. You might have a different explanation for it. You might have a different understanding of what that is. You tell me what you think it means. I'm not going to play this game of well, this is my definition. Well, this is your definition.
Right.
Bypass this shit. I hate when we go through this. And
just make your fucking point without making it look how smart I am and how stupid you are. It's what I fucking hate that shit.
That's a huge, massive thing. You can tell just, if you go by Darth Dawkins, J. Robin being a very terrible carbon copy of Darth Dawkins pretty much pulling his stuff from Greg Bonson. And, you can trace back to Van Til and go back further. Is it essentially is this contextual definitions that they use and how how their definitions will change depending upon the context of the conversation. Sometimes even using two different definitions for a term within the same sentence. So Van Til was notorious for this, to the point that even Van Tillians will say his philosophy was very difficult because you have to try and suss out so they try to adhere to the message and kind of look at Van Til as the way he was trying to present it. Maybe he wasn't the greatest. Bonson doubles down and he does the exact same thing because it's an excellent tactic against someone who doesn't understand these terms. And it can be kind of flustered by them. It's and then you get them on the ropes because they don't know really what you mean and they're trying to think it through. And while they're thinking it, you just keep pummeling. You keep going, keep getting them, because if you start clarifying things, they can get tripped up because then they have to say, well, I meant this at this point in this way, and so on and so forth. Really, really, I would say really hinky stuff and a gross tactic. And I think everybody here is aware of it. So
necessary condition, right? So for example, I'll just give an analogy. A necessary condition in this case, so if you say being an animal is a necessary condition for being a dog, but that doesn't mean all animals are dogs, right? There's more conditions that are required to classify something as a dog, right? And so those conditions would be, along with a necessary condition, a sufficient condition or sufficient conditions, right? So in this case, having a principled objection is a necessary but not sufficient condition for doing what I'm doing, which is calling or representing him as a man, Brendan. Okay.
But it's a subjective. The context is subjective. If it's sufficient for them to do it, and the sufficiency is it's courteous and it does no harm, it costs me nothing, and it doesn't cause divide between two people who share the same ideology. So why would I do that? Why would I cause unnecessary harm when we're both aimed in the same direction? There's no point. If we're racing for the same team, why am I punching my opponent when he's on the same team as me? It makes no sense. And I would assume that would be sufficient. So, but apparently he has a different perception of this.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it. A different perception.
So I didn't say that it was the only required thing. Right. But the point is that if you don't have the necessary condition, right? So if something is not an animal, it immediately disqualifies them from being a dog. So if you don't have a principled objection, I would consider that a necessary condition. So in my view, I would classify it as a troll if you're just doing it for no reason or for no principled reason. You're just being arbitrary.
So again, you've got a principled reason.
It's okay for me to do it. It's okay for me to do it because I can justify it in my own weird and asshole-ish way.
Right.
But it's not okay for someone else. Fuck this guy.
And Jack Burton wants to say, remember, Gay Throbbins' God is a 33-year-old virgin who hung out with 12 men who only wear war robes.
Hey, nobody said that Jesus was a virgin.
This is true. That is an assumption. This is true. Dervis says, watching someone justify bigotry with philosophical verbiage is surreal.
Yeah,
it's very real. Yeah. Oh, Craven Mordick is in the house. I love his name. Good to see you. He says, hey, we still live. We are still live. I don't know how much of this, of the rest of this we're going to watch. We're almost halfway through it, but if it's just more of his trans stuff, we may bounce out. But I was hoping to get to some of his more of the other claims that he was talking about, how he justifies that God exists, because he almost kind of broached it at the very beginning when he was talking about that's how he grounds his epistemology. I was really curious about that, but we've gone into why is J. Robin transphobic, and he thinks because he's an asshole, and he pretty much justifies it because that's what he thinks. Gee, this is what Jesus would do. Is that Jesus would also be transphobic.
So this is how he answered the bracelet. What would Jesus do?
Pretty much.
Hate gay people. Oh, fuck them.
Yeah, despite the fact that Christ never spoke at all about homosexuality, and I don't even think trans was a concept for them. No. Even though there were trans people back then. I don't know. I mean, his logic is
Pharaoh.
his reasoning is not our earth reasoning.
No, I got to bounce. I got personal training in the morning, so I got to go get, jacked on. Whoa. That was going a dangerous route there.
That was. I wanted to see how committed you were to it.
Not committed at all. Yeah. All right. It was. I could say I had some fun making fun of these assholes, but it is what it is. Fuck these guys. J. Robin. Fuck that guy. McKinnon, was good to meet you. Like I said, if you want to compare notes, let me know. Be more than happy to do so. Steaming Cup of Reason. I still think you look like a fucking rock star right now with the hair just flowing in the wind. Like I said, we just got to get you 2 half-naked girls behind you, and then you're there. You're a fucking White Snake video. Just almost. You're right there. So yeah, JL, fuck your mother.
We will chat about how you went live and you wanted me on that panel, but then you never sent me an invite for that panel. And
I was in the process of sending invites out. Thank you, Stephen Cup Reason. I was in the process of, he was calling bullshit, by the way. I was in the process of sending out the invites for said panel when I noticed that you were going live. It's like, well, fucking JL, going live. All right.
I see you never responded to the message that I sent you.
Which one?
Discord. You asked me what would give you that idea, and I sent you a literal picture of the message you put out.
I know, but I responded. I responded live, saying I never. Yeah, I responded in the moment, live on the air. Yeah. Anyway, cheers, everybody. We'll see you on the flip.
Have a good one, Johnny.
Awesome. Take care, Johnny.
All right, I'm looking forward to, and definitely when we get more regarding Kent Hovind, we're definitely going to jump on that. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm curious as to if this is going to go any further. Let me actually, I unfortunately, because I'm using StreamYard, I can't increase the speed of it. But what I will do is
necessary principle condition.
Blah blah blah.
Right. So you're just saying I'm doing something improper or wrong, right? So that
you're just being an asshole.
So
it's not improper or wrong. You can do it all you want.
Yes, you are. You are begging. You are begging the question against me doing, against me.
That's not begging the question.
He's just
not how that works.
Jenny. That's all he's doing.
Okay, you can do whatever you want to do. I like. Do you think I'm affected in some?
Blah blah blah.
If you want to do
his
that.
Name is Gary Bill, and he lives in New Jersey. His name is Gary.
Say again.
I hate that. Do you think you bother me? Do you think you get under my skin? You don't. All right. Nothing penetrates my skin.
And he's saying that because that's exactly what's happening.
Right.
Exactly.
He's getting rebuked, and he's got to make a big show as to why it doesn't affect him. It's like, I guess he
He's saying a lot without actually saying
it. Tell us that your feelings are hurt without telling us your feelings are hurt.
That's right.
Gary Bill, and he lives in New Jersey in his mother's basement, and he's divorced, and he gave his wife venereal diseases.
Okay.
That's some shit about Darth. that was some shit about Darth.
Oh, Gary, boy. Gary and Jenny.
Yeah, so I do know that much about him.
Do you wish Jewish people happy Hanukkah, or do you tell them Merry Christmas just to make the point? Because it's your beliefs, right? And that's right for everyone. That's for Robin.
If somebody doesn't celebrate, what does that have to do with what
because
we're talking about?
Because you said this is how God wanted it, right? Therefore, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to treat everyone.
Well, Christmas isn't even in the Bible. Like the word Christmas isn't in the Bible.
So you did miss my point. Okay.
Yeah.
No, because I don't believe it's right or wrong to celebrate Christmas.
Okay. I didn't ask you that.
What about?
I said.
Well, no, because you did.
What did
Yes,
I
you did.
ask you?
No, she didn't.
What did I
You
ask
asked me. You asked me if I'd tell somebody like a Jewish person
Would
Happy
you?
Hanukkah instead of Happy Christmas
Okay,
because
so would you?
it's Christmas is right.
And what's
Happy Hanukkah. As long as Hanukkah, I don't know much about Hanukkah, but I don't believe. I think it was about a battle that they had. So I could say Happy Hanukkah.
God.
This guy is so clueless.
This is why I'm disillusioned with debates, because the moment someone did this, it's another thing I cannot stand. People can't do. I would have bounced from this. The moment this guy is clearly just not going to answer questions and looks for anything to avoid points, can't respond to analogies, can't respond to hypotheticals. Fuck it. What am I talking to you for? Like what?
Yeah.
Why am I going to waste my time here?
Exactly.
Aaron had that moment. He did that exact same thing when he was debating against Nathan Thompson. When Nathan Thompson demonstrated that he wasn't going to provide any evidence, he wasn't going to bring anything to the table, and all he was going to do was run his mouth. Aaron was like, you didn't agree to anything. You said you were going to bring evidence. You said you were going to do this. I'm here. Now you refuse to do it all. What the fuck am I doing here? And then Aaron bailed.
Well, people are like always constantly in these debates. They think that if they leave, that this makes you lose. Like, what is going to happen? Are you going to get a ticket? Like, or what? Who gives a shit? Like, the opinions of people who are watching, and you're going to waste your time arguing essentially nothing with someone who will not actually debate. Why would I waste my time? Screw this. I'm out.
Definitely. Dervis says McKinnon is perfect to be pulled into the Discord debate sphere.
No, I am not. Whoever the fuck said that, I'll take you out. All right, you and me. Let's go. I don't mean
definitely tongue in cheek. Atheist Mando says, Bridges Divide, if you get the time, will want to break down what I feel would be the most feasible conclusion for a God. It has its flaws. So, possibly if we get the opportunity. I don't know if it'll be tonight, but definitely you can message me directly via Discord. You've got a hold of me there. Let's see if J. Robin has anything substantial at all.
Hanukkah to somebody, I don't think it's an immoral holiday to celebrate. But if
people in
look,
religions,
listen.
Like
you're not gonna change my opinion unless you can provide something substantive. You just kind of emotionally. You just have these emotional objections.
No, I really don't.
But you really do.
I've got a question. Well, if you let me finish, maybe. I'm just curious how someone can live in America and just like refuse to acknowledge the existence of other religions and other people and just have a sort of basic level of courtesy. It's just weird.
Have I refused or have I not acknowledged the existence of other religions? Have I not acknowledged that?
Only to say they're wrong. And that you wouldn't say Happy Hanukkah or Happy Ramadan.
Yeah, you believe they're wrong too.
Yeah, I would tell you Happy Christmas.
Okay.
No,
but you believe they're wrong. So both of us believe they're wrong. So then the whole thing would come back onto yourself too.
Yeah.
Look, Haiti, you need to think through what you're saying a little bit more than just.
Oh, I do.
Yes, you do. I'm not saying that to be mean to you. I'm just saying.
And I'm assuming, and Dervis brought it up, but I'm assuming everyone caught that dog whistle sexism. Yep. They're the emotional bullshit. This is classic J. Robin bullshit. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to see if there's anything more that he addresses. He's just going to continue to demonstrate that he is an asshole and is not worthy to be really talked to. So let me jump ahead.
Wow, Jeff, you're moderating this is how you're conducting the room, really? You're going to give me a syllogism? You're going to do exactly what you accuse other people of doing?
I'm doing what you and Darth do all the time. So are you going to give me a syllogism?
so then there isn't. So are you doing something wrong, or are you doing something good right now?
Yes, I'm doing something. I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong. Are you going to give me a syllogism?
Why would you do something that's wrong?
Because I don't give a shit about you. Are you going to give me a syllogism?
Well, then why are you complain? Why do you complain about Darth and me?
Are you going to give me a syllogism?
Are you a hypocrite?
I want to make it clear that I want to make it clear that Jay cannot give a syllogism.
Well, I would have given it by now, but I have to address your bad behavior.
Because
I have to address your bad behavior.
So everybody here, Jay does not have an argument. So he cannot give a syllogism.
If you would quiet down for.
Can I attempt to steel man J. Robin's syllogism?
Okay,
he's gone now.
it's okay, Jeff. Don't you guys don't get it's okay.
No quarreling, please.
Who's that?
Well, I mean, first of all, not every argument is an Aristotelian syllogism, but there are syllogisms like the.
All right. So I think, we had enough of that. J. Robin pretty much got called out on his bullshit, and I don't know what syllogism they were asking for. I'm assuming it was related to the crap that he can't back up. So, but I wanted to take a look at that. So as far as it goes, we pretty much understand. I wanted, and I'm glad that we got a chance to look at this. And even though there was nothing substantive there and nothing major to ask, to look at as far as philosophy goes, this is the kind of mentality, this viewpoint of what Christianity is, and this victim mentality that drives people to think that Christ would be transphobic or homophobic or would warrant making other people's lives, worse, and for whatever reason. I'm an atheist, and even I can understand that's deeply unchristian. So I'll look at that, and there's another just verification as to why J. Robin is just crap. So I am curious, because you can't. Before, because I'm coming up on 3.5 hours, and I think it's about time. I didn't have any other videos to take a look at. Someone sent me a message there. Oh, I think I'll have to check that out here in a minute. So, McKinnon, you said that you came from a deeply conservative religious background. A particular denomination, or because I came from the Methodist faith myself. Baptist. Okay, one of the hardcore ones, or
yeah, that was pretty fire stuff.
Damn, yeah. And that's a tough one because when you do leave, I have experienced our friends who, when they have left the Baptist faith, depending upon the church, depending upon what their pastors are saying, that it can get really personal because they take it to the family level. They attack everybody around you, and they pretty much try to ostracize you. And it's either you're out and you're just cut off, or you're in. This very, very cult mentality. I really like that you brought up when you were talking to the first interview you did, the gentleman with the white beard. I can't remember his name.
Bruce Gernzer.
Bruce, bringing up the bite model was really, really important, and behavioral control, information, thought, and emotional control. I'm working on a series right now that addresses that and how Christianity conforms to the bite model, and using the Bible and how it pretty much backs that up. So that's a big 4-parter that I'm working on as we speak. So, but yeah, really great stuff. And now we just see a prime example of this kind of mentality and what it drives. And while they never come out in public, and say these things, this is the kind of shit that is being brought. This is the mentality that people are voting with.
Right.
Yeah.
I see it. I know we've always focused on the religion aspect of it, but I watch a lot of debates, not just in the religious sphere, just debates in general. I see this mentality in a lot of different things. Now, it tends to be more prominent for people who are right-wing, of course. But I just see this unmovable, I'm here to, just essentially yell at you and tell you that I'm right. And I just see that in a lot of areas. In, like I said, it's kind of the point where I'm just, what are we doing? And that right there, why are we continuing? Just cut them off. Done. Out. Don't deal with it. And we need to lose this idea that, you have to win this debate. I don't feel like debates should be something to be won. I think it's
right.
It's supposed to talk.
The mentality I always go into is that it's not for the other person, it's for the audience. It's to convey a position to the audience. They convey their position to the audience and let the audience decide who is coming. It was basically say, these are all this is everything I've gotten. Where, what position it has the validity to it. And it shouldn't be about winning. It's about conveying stuff to the audience, not to your opponent. And even the ones, there's another debate channel that was set up by MC Toon and Schrodinger's cat before SE passed away. And I don't know if MC is going to continue it. It was really good. It was called the SC Toon Show, where they were essentially trying to provide a better platform than MDD was, and obviously a better platform than non-sec. Let's say the new non-sec, given the implosion that's going on between Steve and Chesh.
Yeah.
So I think we all foresaw that coming. That was just going to be history repeating itself over and over again. Hopefully, eventually, we will get a debate platform that can really hold these things, hold this stuff up, really strong moderation, and can, it doesn't have to be where we can do like single Oxford platform and the individuals can get up and they can state their positions and maybe have a little bit of rebuttal and then, maybe some open conversation. But it doesn't come into, I need to, beat you down or like this. Hopefully one day we'll get a YouTube platform that can support that and that other people will support. So it doesn't have to be a dumpster fire. I
would love to see that. I've thought about, even doing it myself because like the docuseries, that's just something I wanted to see. I wanted somebody, but it wasn't there, so I made it. This is another thing. I would love to see this and I've contemplated it. But the problem is that nobody would opt for that experience because I would be a moderator and the moment someone asks a question and the other person starts to dodge, I feel like it's the responsibility of the moderator to keep the conversation where it needs to be. I would not let shit slide. The moment they're like dodging the question, like, no, you can either tell me, you can either address the question or you can say you're not going to answer. You can ask to move on. But if your opponent has a question, you will address that question or request to move on. Yep. No moderator does that shit. And again, I would love to see that, but if I did that, nobody would want to be a part of that.
Pretty sure, yeah. I would have this possibility. And it was the SC Tune Show that I had my debate with Eric Jewell on. And I gave my presentation. It was the first time I'd ever used PowerPoint for a debate. I was quite proud of myself. This whole big thing on evolution, hitting all the points and conveying it in a way for the audience. And then all he came out with was conspiracy theory and, blah, 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 and just came out swinging. I was like, and it just turned into a shit show. But hopefully one day, you never know. All right, we have been going for 3.5 hours, and I think that is about time. So this has been a magnificent live stream. I thank everybody for coming in. This has been fantastic. We've been talking with Steaming Cup of Reason and talking about his Pain of Progress series. You can find that on his channel. I'm going to put that link in the description below so you can go and check that stuff out. His 5th season is coming out soon. Steaming, anything else you got to say?
Just I'm doing my normal live stream tonight on the Steaming Cup of Reason channel, and you're always welcome there. So if you ever want to join me on there, just let me know, both of you. Other than that, nothing really other than preparing for season 5 to roll. So.
Fantastic. And all the best of luck with that one. And I hope that eventually does blow up. And look who just jumped in here. Randolph Richardson, president of the Canadian Atheist Society, Canadian Atheist. Thank you so much, Randolph, for popping in. It's good to see you. Appreciate it. And, of course, McKinnon Mitchell, who has his channel, is slowly growing that, and he just dropped the first 2 episodes of his amazing The Weakness of Kent Hovind, examining the man, the myth, the legend, the stallion of a man, whatever, but taking a good, hard, unbiased look at Kent Hovind. And you may, like I told a lot of people, what you hear may not surprise you, but it definitely paints a much clearer picture. Definitely check that out on his channel. I'm going to link that in the description as well so people can find that. McKinnon, anything for us before we go?
Just thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It probably went a little bit different than you thought it was going to do. I tried to have a lot of fun and do crazy stuff. And I know Johnny is always a wild card when it comes to coming in. That's why he's so awesome. But it's always great to see what kind of input is out there. And, of course, new stuff coming in. So definitely get your tails over to Steaming Cup of Reason and McKinnon Mitchell's channels. Hit those subscribe buttons and hit those bells for the new content coming out. And, of course, The Pain of Progress. Check that out as well. And as far as it goes, thank you all so much for coming out and joining us tonight. It has been an absolute blast, one of my longest streams ever. This has been so cool. Thank you to every single person who showed up. Thank you to all of my channel members. You have made this possible. Every single one of you. I appreciate you. I love you. We're only 3 channel members away. And if you want to become a channel member, it's only 99 cents a month. That's about as much as I value my content. And, of course, you get access to the channel badge, which is the expanding mind meme. So that'll expand the more you're with me. And, of course, you get access to all of the cool emojis. We are 3 channel members away from unlocking the epic Greg lock emoji, which may or may not get me in trouble. I don't know, but fuck it. We're going to find out. But thank you all so very, very much. I do appreciate it. And, of course, to all of you, be safe, be excellent to each other. And together, we can bridge the divide. Bye.